Welcome, everybody, to episode 6 of the RGW Podcast. We're very excited that you're here with us again. We're sorry again for the lateness of today's podcast. This has been kind of just a really off-the-wall week for James here. Not so much Eric, I'm sure, but we're recording this here Saturday, and just wanted to apologize for that. But in either case, we are here, we're back, we're ready to go, and we're looking forward to a good podcast. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good, James. How are you?
I'm doing great, thanks.
I am looking forward to episode number 6. It is March 11th on a beautiful Saturday afternoon.
It is beautiful.
We're gonna make it up to our audience. You know, I know they didn't get to hear our voices on Wednesday, but we got a long, full podcast today, full of stuff. Guys, we've got 15 rumors of the week to cover. We've got 4 or 5 topics of discussion. And as per the norm, we're going to end the show off with a review/recap of Monday Night Raw. We're going to discuss, as long as we have the time, we're going to quickly discuss a few things on SmackDown as part of the regular SmackDown Rush. And I wanted to introduce a new segment regarding Raw. I'd like to call it the Raw S&M. The Raw segments and matches. We're going to discuss our favorite segment and favorite match of Raw, and basically our worst, our least liked segment and most liked segment of Raw. So we're gonna try and pack that all into the show for you guys, and I hope you enjoy this one.
Awesome. Okay, well, why don't we dive right into it, starting with our rumors of the week there. We'd like to thank a few different websites for helping us out here this week. We've got ringsidenews.com. We've got the Wrestling Observer Radio. We've got sportskita.com. We've got cagesideseats.com.
Bleacher Reports.
Bleacher Reports, thank you very much.
Our first time with them.
First time with Bleacher Reports. Thanks to Bleacher Reports for coming on board with us. I'm sure they're thrilled.
They're thrilled. Huge merchandise sales there.
Huge fans of the RGW. All right, so rumors of the week. Let's start off with our first rumor here. According to a report from ringsidenews.com, Finn Balor is possibly being considered to replace Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 33. What do you think about that?
I personally don't like that.
Okay.
I'm a Seth Rollins guy, not so much a Finn Balor guy. So I kind of hope Seth, he repairs and he can make WrestleMania, and I'd still like to see him against the Trips himself, Triple H. Not so interested in seeing Finn Balor versus Triple H myself.
Yeah, I agree. First of all, not that size really matters, but Finn Balor, 190 pounds. Of course, he fought against Samoa Joe. But anyhow,
yeah. Finn
Balor, 190 pounds versus 270 of Triple H, who I think he's about 270 pounds.
Oh, he certainly looks it.
He's just a beast, and he's in such ridiculous shape for like a 46-year-old man.
Oh,
I mean, just a monster. But in any case, part of wrestling is that there's got to be a story to go along with it. Unless it makes sense, like I am a Finn Balor fan. I would like to see him maybe one day face Triple H. And I mean that window, I'm sure, is closing as the months and years go by. But right now, for him to replace Seth Rollins, I mean, I don't know. To me, it doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah, there's no storyline, and their bodies don't really match up to that. Like, I'm 190 myself, 195, and to even think of me taking on Triple H, just unheard of, in my opinion.
Yeah, and again, it comes down to believability. Personally, I didn't think that Finn Balor, it made any sense for him to beat Roman Reigns back during the Universal Championship tournament that they held there back in July. And I'm not a Roman Reigns fan, and I didn't think it made a whole lot of sense for Finn Balor to beat Roman Reigns cleanly. It just didn't really, it didn't really jive with me.
No, for sure, agreed.
Yeah, so anywho, I'd say that's a nay on Finn Balor.
Agreed.
Cool.
All right, well, on to our next rumor of the week. According to Brian Alvarez on the Wrestling Observer Radio, Nia Jax was actually originally scheduled to win her match against Sasha Banks at Fastlane, but the idea was scrapped after a last-minute change in plans. So I guess Sasha was actually meant to hold on to the ropes when she pinned Jax backwards. In addition to that, so. Not only was Nia originally planned to win, but Sasha actually botched the win to add to it. I would have rather have seen Nia win, but I think we could kind of see which direction they're going for WrestleMania with Sasha.
Yeah, and I don't like it, but that's okay. Yeah, I agree. I would have preferred to see Nia Jax win. But yeah, with the direction they're going in, it does make sense. What I don't like is the fact, and I've discussed this previously, I don't like the fact that Sasha Banks now, this is the second wrestler, although as we go through our time here, we're going to talk about other scenarios where this also is involved. But anyhow, it's about the faces not acting like faces. Like, I know you like the anti-hero.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, heels cheat to win.
Yeah, and that's the rumor. Actually, I've been hearing around is it's been lightly discussed, but I think Sasha is going to turn heel soon. It's kind of looking that way. Even the way Charlotte talks in the ring, she kind of hints that Sasha's using Bayley, and
right.
it seems that way. So if she doesn't turn heel, this is ridiculous. Like, nothing makes sense if she doesn't turn at the stage.
Exactly. Now, some of the things that Charlotte said made perfect sense for a near future Sasha Banks heel turn.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it doesn't happen, what's the point of all of it? In any case, yeah, it's so funny that Sasha was supposed to cheat and she botched the cheat.
Yeah.
That, I don't know. Does that show that she's still pretty green in the ring?
She seems green to me.
Like, I'm not super impressed with her performance.
No.
At
her
all.
Performance.
Yeah. Since she's been called up, so in the last year and a bit, or I guess 2 years, right? Since that whole.
Yeah, it's at least 2.
It's been 2 years. It was after WrestleMania 2 years ago that Charlotte and Sasha, and they had the three factions.
Yeah.
Right. There was Team Bad, and then there was the team with Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and
God, all I remember was there was 3 teams, and Steph was running it.
It
yeah, and one of them was the Bellas, and they were with
what's her face, Alicia Fox.
Alicia Fox.
Right.
Yeah, that was one of them.
That's right, Team Bella. Yes.
Yeah. So, well, I guess we'll see what they do with Sasha.
Yeah, we'll go from there, and then Bayley just again doesn't. I don't know. I don't even care about Bayley at all.
Neither do I.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about her more
Sounds
soon
good.
enough.
Yeah, we'll get to it. Okay, rumor number 3. Should we keep numbering these as we go along?
Sure.
I like it.
We'll do it.
Sounds good.
It adds organization, and I love organization.
As we go along, we should be like WWE is with their WrestleMania. Instead of calling it by their number, just add a symbol. Like this year's like a sunshine. Last year was a star. The year before that was a play symbol. So this one, let's just put on like a giant person sleeping. According to CagesideSeats.com, WrestleMania could be 7 hours long.
So, wasn't WrestleMania last year the one where we had trouble finishing it? I think that one was almost 7 hours. Was it? Not?
It was. Well, I guess at the end of it all, it was almost 7 hours because it was officially, I think, 6 hours, including, we'll call it the quote unquote pre-show. It was supposed to be, I think, from 6 to 10. But it ended up going till almost 11 o'clock. I think all of us ended up, our recordings didn't even pick up the end of the match because it went so far overtime.
Yeah, when Triple H was fighting Reigns there at the end, I think people were sleeping in the crowd. I'd even heard people had left live at WrestleMania.
You know what? I can imagine that there were many people that did, because could you imagine So if it's 6 hours, that means the show last year started at 4 o'clock, right?
Right.
Started at 4 o'clock, and you're going to be in your seat there are people that are going to be in their seat for 4 o'clock. That means you're probably getting to the arena at 3:30, and then you're getting to your seat, starts at 4, and if you waited all the way to the end, like you were there till almost 11. Now this year, if the 7 hours is where they're going, that means a 3-hour pre-show. I mean, I would guess. So that means they're going to actually be starting at 3 in the afternoon, Winnipeg time, 3 in the afternoon, and going until 10 o'clock at night. 7 hours sitting there.
It'd be harder to be live, actually, than us. You know, everyone that watches at home, you have the comfort of your home. You can sit on your nice couch or whatnot. You have your snacks that cost way less. You can go to the washroom when you want, et cetera, et cetera. You can pause. These people that are going to WrestleMania, they're sitting in plastic bleacher seats, all crowded for 7-8 hours. Like, my tailbone hurts just thinking about it.
I can't even fathom wanting to be sitting in a seat, exactly, a hard plastic or a hard metal seat for 7+ hours.
Oh.
I just can't see it. And especially when a lot of the stuff that's going on so far really seems a little lackluster.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, from where they're kind of going with a lot of the stuff, it just doesn't seem extremely exciting and captivating. So to be sitting there for 7+ hours, it just seems like madness to me.
Agreed. Absolute madness. Rumor number 4. Current plans have Roman Reigns defeating Taker at WrestleMania, and there is no plans of turning Reigns heel. To me, this is not a surprise whatsoever. I know Taker, I'm fairly confident Taker wants to hand the reins over, no pun intended.
Oh.
No pun intended. And I'm pretty much not surprised that good old Vince doesn't want his boy Roman Reigns to turn heel at this stage. It's all cookie cutter, predictable stuff.
I don't see Roman Reigns turning heel. The continuing face push of Roman Reigns, which is absolutely baffling, just baffling based on the responses he gets.
It's garbage.
It just astounds me. So I don't see it. I don't see that ending anytime soon. What really irks me is that in 27 years now, almost 27 years of The Undertaker, this is going to be his, I guess, what is he right now? 23-1, 22-1?
Yeah, something like that.
So the only two people that are going to basically have beaten The Undertaker at WrestleMania are Brock Lesnar, he's a former world champion, former UFC world champion, just highest profile guy out there.
Sure.
To an extent, right?
Yep.
A legend, if you want to call him a legend.
Sure.
You could probably place him in that category.
Oh, yeah. Definitely going to be in the Hall of Fame.
So
definitely.
The two people to have beaten The Undertaker at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns. And I think it's going to happen.
It's going to happen. That should be John Cena, the guy that's been with the company forever, that's wrestled everyone. He's been loyal to the company.
Yeah.
He's done all of his, Make-A-Wish stuff, done all this stuff. Nope. Instead, we're going to have Cena and his, I think this is Wish, but, Cena and Nikki in that tag team match. But, Roman Reigns, who really knows who Roman Reigns is, isn't a wrestling fan, so.
Yeah. No, yeah. I agree. Now, that said, getting back to the John Cena thing, I certainly don't mind John Cena and Nikki versus Miz and Maurice. I think they've, on SmackDown, from what I've seen and read anyways, it seems like they're building it up quite well.
Right.
So I'm okay with it.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that Cena, at this stage in his career, is in those kind of matches.
That is true, right? I mean, he should be still in those he should basically be almost guaranteed a high-profile match.
Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of intergender matches as of lately, and they're kind of hokey because we all know it's not what it used to be. You used to see Austin stunning China. There's no more, men hitting women things. That's not happening.
No, you're not going to see the interaction between
Right.
Miz and Nikki.
Right, and I wouldn't want to see that either.
No.
So why do they have an intergender match then? They're having two matches just at the same time. Because you can't have. I'm not sure.
But only one pin.
Only one pin.
But only one fall.
Yeah, that's why I'm not a big fan of these intergender matches.
Yeah.
Back in the day, when maybe, I guess it was, I dare say, more acceptable to see that kind of stuff happen. I won't even say it was acceptable, but it was the Attitude Era, so anything could happen. It kind of added to it, but no, nowadays, that's a big no-no, and I agree with it.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with it too. So and that's actually interesting that you said that it's almost like two singles matches rolled into one.
Yeah.
Because you're right, exactly. Like it basically is two singles matches, and like I said, one fall. It's very, very strange. So
yeah,
it is a little bit too bad that Cena's not going to get his match with The Undertaker, because I honestly don't see The Undertaker fighting another match. Like you saw him at the Royal Rumble. He is kind of a shell of his former self.
Oh yeah, he's not the same man.
No, he's since he fought. Who did he fight last year? Was it Bray Wyatt? Yeah, it was Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I think it was Bray last year, and
And-
even that was much better.
Then
No, it was Shane.
Oh yeah, it was Shane.
was Shane.
Bray was 2 years ago.
Last year was pretty terrible with Shane.
Yeah.
With Bray, he was pretty good. I remember he came back. He had his his normal hairstyle, and then the year before that was Brock, where he
Right.
had the mohawk
That's
hairstyle.
right, that's right.
I'm remembering Taker's hairstyles now when he wrestles at WrestleMania. That's how I remember. Otherwise, I can't remember anything. So yeah, no, he was all right with Bray. He was kind of flaky when he fought Brock. But yeah, last year against Shane, he was not very good, and this year is going to be terrible.
I can't see it being a great match
No.
at all.
It's
So
going to be a snooze fest. Bad way to end his career.
I agree. All right, now kind of going off of that, there are reports that the segment this week on Raw between Strowman and The Undertaker can actually be considered as an indication of a future feud.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I agree, especially just kind of going off what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
I think The Undertaker is pretty much done. I don't think that another feud is in the cards.
I think that's the reason why they had Braun just walk off.
Mm-hmm.
It was a respect thing. It wasn't a heel. It wasn't a face thing. It was just a respect thing. If they wanted to do anything with that feud, I think they would have taken it a little further, but it just didn't happen. Maybe they were kind of just like giving a wink of the eye that it was supposed to happen in the past and it didn't. I would have much rather have seen this than him versus Reigns, but and actually it probably would have been better because they're both big men, so big men matches are naturally a little slower.
And it wouldn't, and you know what, you could have The Undertaker going out on top against Braun Strowman, because Braun Strowman isn't necessarily right now, to quote Roman Reigns, the guy.
Right.
And there's certainly no shame in losing to The Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Oh, agreed.
So for that, they could have had that fine match. Now here's the thing: do you think Undertaker could get Braun Strowman up in a tombstone at this point?
Ugh.
He's pushing 400 pounds.
I'm going to say no.
I'm going to say no as well. He'd have to use the choke slam. Could you imagine if The Undertaker just brought in like some Super Saiyan strength and just started picking up and throwing Strowman around like a rag doll?
He just injects before the match, comes out. Oh. But yeah, no, Taker's in rough shape. He apparently needs hip replacement, and you could see it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's a big man. He's in his 50s now. The body fails.
It depends on how you wrestled throughout your career, and he did a lot of flying over the rope and stuff like that, and that takes a toll. And there's been other wrestlers in the past the same age as Taker, and they've lasted a lot longer. But it all depends on how you wrestled and whatnot. And he wrestled a stiffer style, and it's showing now.
Wrestled a stiffer style, and of course, he is a bigger man. Like,
Yeah.
he's a bigger guy than The Rock.
Sure.
Or Austin or a Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Who did a lot of the high flying as well, and is, I think, about the exact same age, yet is obviously still moving around as spryly as he ever has, really.
Sure. Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay, so what was the next one here?
What number was this?
Oh, what number? I'm losing track, James.
This was numero sixo.
Numero sixo? Number 6. Bill Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, Universal title, expected to headline WrestleMania. You know, I'm not entirely certain that this is going to happen anymore. This was an initial rumor, but there's been additional rumors since stating that it might be Orton and Bray finishing off the show. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see Bill Goldberg and Brock Lesnar finish WrestleMania. If they do, I know the reviews are going to be bad. Because that match is not going to be spectacular, I dare say. If you have someone like Orton and Bray finish the show, they could get a lot better reviews. The only, once again, going back to one of the rumors that if the show is 7 hours, sorry, whoever the last 2 wrestlers are, they're not going to get the same attention that the wrestlers at the first half of the show get.
And, something could be said that back in the day, like we're gonna go back like 25 years, 27 years, but WrestleMania 6, Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior, there are people that would have, like, I would almost say every single person is still going to be left in that house to watch a match like that. Standing. Hulk Hogan versus Macho Man Randy Savage, Austin versus Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania 14. Sure. People are going to stay to watch that match. Undertaker, Triple H. That headlined once, didn't it?
I think it did.
I think that headlined once. I think people would stay to watch that. To be honest, Bill Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, or Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, I don't think either of those matches are appealing enough to have, a significant amount of people hanging around if it's a 7-hour show.
Oh, agreed. That's funny. We just must have had a brain fart. Undertaker and Triple H, they've had 3 WrestleManias, have they not?
Yeah, yes, but they no. But headline, I'm talking.
Oh, headlining. Yeah, it's hard to remember. Yeah,
I know that I think they headlined one of them. Even it wasn't a title match, but it was probably the Hell in the Cell. Didn't they have a Hell in the Cell match? I think they did.
Now, is that the one that they don't talk about?
No, the one they don't talk about is WrestleMania 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was Biker Taker and stuff like that.
No, he wasn't Biker Taker
yet.
He was still the old Phenom.
I don't know why they don't talk about it.
But Triple H it was during the corporation days.
Okay.
So he was that was just prior to the McMahon-Helmsley era.
Oh, okay.
It was
the authority, if you will.
It was before, because he won the title in '99. Hunter won the title, I think, the night after SummerSlam in 1999. So that would have been WrestleMania 15 that they fought. So that would have been in the spring. And yeah, that's the match that we're not supposed to remember ever happened. It didn't happen, actually.
Oh yeah, it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. No.
There you go, Vince. It didn't happen.
So yeah, but I don't think either of those matches. But just getting back to that real quick, I think that Bray and Orton will put on a much better match, and it'll be a longer match too.
Oh yeah.
Like a WrestleMania main event needs to give the people their money's worth. It needs to be, I think it needs to be a bit of a longer match, like a 5 or 6 minute main event at WrestleMania. That can't fly.
No, I bet you their match will be third last, actually.
Lesnar Goldberg.
Yeah, I bet you there will be a women's match between them.
Third last. Okay.
Yeah, I bet you it's not even second last. Yeah, I'm going with that. That's what I'm going with.
Third last. Okay, so you're gonna say third last, and then women's match.
Yeah, probably Charlotte's match.
Yeah, maybe that match. Yeah,
mm-hmm. And then Randy versus Bray.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm calling.
Interesting. Okay. Number 7. According to Dave Meltzer with the Wrestling Observer, Brock Lesnar was able to get himself out of a WrestleMania match with Shane McMahon. Shane wanted the match to happen, but Brock was not interested in the match whatsoever. That is funny.
Doesn't surprise me. And I could see Shane wanting the spotlight, fighting Brock. And looking through Brock's eyes, I wouldn't want to wrestle Shane McMahon either. That's a step back. It is.
To me, it is, absolutely. Like when you have an opportunity to potentially fight Bill Goldberg, even if the title wasn't involved, Lesnar Goldberg 3 is still a huge match.
Sure.
Whereas Brock versus Shane,
my God,
like even Undertaker Shane, like I personally, I didn't want to see Undertaker Shane last year.
Did not like it. No, me neither.
No, and the match wasn't very good.
That was so thrown together. I think back at Vince standing in the middle of the ring, stating, "I choose Undertaker," and there was nothing. There was no logic to it.
No.
Oh, it was terrible.
And then you're left thinking, why in the world is the Undertaker doing Vince's bidding here? It doesn't make any sense. It made no sense.
And they didn't continue to go after the storyline after that.
No, not
really. That I can recall.
No.
Vince could have said, "You owe me for so-and-so," and the crowd would have been, "Whoa, what is this so-and-so?" No, they didn't go any hokey direction.
No, they never went in any direction. It was just completely forgotten about after that.
Exactly. Vince didn't even come out during the match. It made no sense.
You're watching this match thinking, oh, Vince is coming out. Vince has got to come out. Absolutely, he's got to come out. And you never saw him.
Nope. Ugh. Look at that. Look how angry you and I are for something that happened a year ago. It's going to happen again.
You got Shane the Dropper versus The Undertaker last year. And then this year you got Shane the Dropper wanting to fight Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar's like, you're not dropping on me.
No, instead it makes more sense. He's going to probably wrestle AJ Styles because that makes so much more sense. No, Shane, unfortunately, Shane versus anyone at this stage probably doesn't make so much sense.
There's no logic. Well, I guess there's a little bit of logic to it on SmackDown, but it's just the way that it's been put together. Like everything. It's so forced.
Yeah.
Everything feels so forced. Like this is the decision we're going with. We have to make it look like it makes sense.
Right.
But it doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel like it's something like, something happened, which is now, like cause and effect, right? Like something happened, which is now resulting in this. It feels that's just thrown at the wall.
Agreed.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm glad to hear we're not going to see Shane McMahon versus Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I certainly don't. You know what? As much as I don't really enjoy Shane McMahon in the ring, I have no ill will towards him. I don't want to see him dead. I don't want to see Brock Lesnar kill him in the middle of the ring.
No. Shane's matches in the past have been very entertaining. It's just, I don't know. Who would be interested? Him versus Dean Ambrose. Something like in a hardcore match. That would be cool. But not against a giant behemoth. If Brock Lesnar faced Shane in real life, 20 seconds. 20 seconds is what I'd give him. He would absolutely annihilate Shane McMahon. Like, don't put Shane McMahon against Brock Lesnar or Bill Goldberg. Those guys would destroy him.
Yep, agreed.
Okay, next rumor. Rumor number 8?
It is 8.
8 question mark? According to Sportskeeda, in a recent interview with TMZ, the broken one, Matt Hardy, hinted that although Ring of Honor, their contracts prohibit them from wrestling for any other organization, there is always a chance in his broken universe that we could find either one of the Hardys or both of them in the WWE in the near future. What's your thoughts? I'm a little excited actually about this.
Well, I, for one, thought, because last week the Hardy Boys beat the Young Bucks for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship.
They did.
Last week. And then last night was Ring of Honor's big, I don't know if I think it was their anniversary show. Sounded like it was really good, actually. Christopher Daniels won the Ring of Honor World Championship, which he's actually apparently never done, even though he's actually fought for it 10 times over the course of his career.
Wow.
Being in Ring of Honor and then leaving and coming back and leaving and this and that. He is a veteran, and so last night he finally won the title, and it sounds like it was a really big deal. And Christopher Daniels is one of these wrestlers that could just put on a good match with virtually anybody.
Yeah, you're a big fan of his, eh?
I like Christopher Daniels a lot. Anyhow, the Hardy Boys were fighting the Young Bucks for the titles again. My assumption were the Young Bucks were going to beat the Hardy Boys, and that was going to be it. We're going to see them in WWE. But that didn't happen. The Hardy Boys won. They retained the Ring of Honor titles. So it certainly isn't going to be by WrestleMania.
No, no, it'll be post WrestleMania for sure.
Yeah,
it will.
But it's really hard to say, and I certainly don't. Since it does say Ring of Honor contract prohibits them from wrestling for anyone else, it certainly would prohibit them from wrestling in WWE. Not only that, WWE guaranteed wouldn't allow them to sign while also keeping commitments with Ring of Honor.
No, I agree. I don't think WWE has any ill will towards Ring of Honor.
I agree. No, I don't think so.
Whereas I'm sure they do with TNA for numerous reasons. But I agree. I don't think they would. I don't think they would do that. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So number 9 here, to add to the rumors of the Hardys possibly returning to the WWE. According to Cage Side Seats, the Hardys were spotted in Pittsburgh last week, leading to speculation that they were there to take their WWE physicals. It's also noted that Matt had recently filed for a trademark on the Broken character, which would likely mean that if they were to come to the WWE, it would be with their old or a different gimmick altogether. That part I don't actually agree would be the case, because he could be possibly doing that gimmick, trademarking that gimmick for other things, like if he wanted to get involved in maybe some other like non-WWE things after he was done wrestling.
Okay.
'Cause coming back to WWE, I don't see either of those guys lasting all that long, really. Like, I don't think they're gonna be in there again for another 5 years.
No, I'd give him 3.
3 tops.
Yeah.
So for WWE to then, take control of that Broken gimmick that he's just created and cultivated and turned into a phenomenon of its own, I can see why he wouldn't want WWE to get their claws in it and say and basically take it from him.
Right. Agreed.
Which would be something that could happen, right? But.
Right. No, I think he's pretty proud of that gimmick. I know he came up with it on his own. I remember actually watching an interview before he even introduced it to TNA, stating he had something very different coming from Matt Hardy, that the crowd may like it or may not like it, but to keep an open mind. And I was like, what does he mean? Because, Broken Matt Hardy, you have to have a very open mind. Otherwise, you'll be like, this is bonkers. This is weirdo land. Like, but I dig it. It's all right. It's as long as you keep an open mind, because it's I don't know. It's cool. It'd be cool to see him in the WWE. Just he has to have a trademark, because we discussed, I believe, last week that WWE is pretty proud, and they know for a fact that they didn't invent that, and they'd have to be accepting that. All right, Matt came up with this. This is his thing. But he's extremely popular with this thing, bigger than he ever has been compared to his past gimmicks of like version 1, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to let him roll with it.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the whole trademark thing too, if he wants to maybe go into, who knows, do a movie or something, and he wants to refer to himself as Broken Matt Hardy or something like that. Yeah. Then at least he has the name to do it with. Similar to, I guess, probably CM Punk. Yeah. Like CM Punk would own that name. Otherwise, he wouldn't necessarily be able to use it, you'd think, in UFC, or to use it in, like, they couldn't use it in promotional stuff. You would think, anyways, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
Okay, well, on to the next rumor, and I hate to say this, but I'm almost not surprised based on the 7-hour WrestleMania coming up. But there's rumors, according to Cage Side Seats, that the SmackDown Tag Team titles may not even be defended at WrestleMania 33. That's what happens when you throw too much on one show. You don't even have time to put one of your title matches in there. Like, are you surprised by this?
I actually had to think for a second. Who are the SmackDown Tag Team Champions?
Yeah, too much going
so
on.
There's that for sure. I'm not really surprised that it's being left off the show.
It's American Alpha, I do believe.
It is American Alpha, yeah. But it does almost seem like a shame that if you've got 7 hours, why couldn't you put it on the show somewhere?
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be on the, we'll call it the main show, the 4 hours, but it could be on the pre-show. It could be the opening match of the pre-show, the Tag Team Championship. I don't think there really isn't even a solid feud on SmackDown going for the belts.
That's the thing with WrestleMania. I don't think they need to include every wrestler on the show, and they've gotten to a point now within the last couple of years they feel that they have to have everyone on the show. And in my opinion, if they only put the championship matches and the popular wrestlers on the show, it would give incentive to the wrestlers to work harder and to get up, get with the crowd. Because if you're just a jobber or a B wrestler or a C wrestler, I'm sorry, you're not going to be on WrestleMania this year. Try harder next time. It sounds kind of mean, but I don't know. That's just how I see it. We just have too many matches and too many segments planned for WrestleMania. Like, how many segments, James, are we going to see with New Day this year? It's not required. It's really not required.
Well, they're the hosts, right? So you're going to see them probably at least every other match.
Oh.
You're going to see or hear from them. At least we're not going to really see them wrestle, but
good point.
But yeah, you're going to see a lot of the New Day and a lot of their ice cream hijinks, which
they'll probably drop ice cream out of the crowd or something.
Yeah, probably.
Or it'll be under everyone's seat, melting.
Yeah. But I agree with you. And I don't think every single wrestler needs to be on WrestleMania.
Right.
And I don't think, but what I do think rather is that every title that there is should be defended at WrestleMania. No matter what, those titles need to be defended at WrestleMania.
Oh, I agree with you. I was just surprised that it's gotten to this, that it almost just fell off the radar.
Yeah. So, does that say too creative and just the fact that there's no feud for it? So maybe we'll drop it because it feels like there's no reason to even have it, which is very sad.
Geez, it would almost be like a filler match. It's a good thing they don't have any of those this year, right?
Good thing. Okay. Next here on the docket, where are we? Are we 11?
Something like that.
Something like that. All right. So this particular rumor here, I'm just trying to think of a symbol to use for it instead of a number, but I can't think of one. Shinsuke Nakamura is expected to get called up to the main roster later this year. Very excited.
You are? Yeah.
I am. I really want to see him interact with some wrestlers.
Which ones in particular?
AJ Styles, man.
AJ, okay.
That's probably my biggest want right now.
Yeah, that would be a cool one.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I think he could tear it up pretty good with maybe that's a little too high profile, but maybe Randy Orton.
Yeah, they're smooth wrestlers.
That'd be an interesting matchup for sure.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, so am I. Yeah, he's an interesting guy. There's going to be some cool matches. They'll probably throw him against Samoa Joe again, now that they're both on their main roster.
Yeah, and I guess you could have him against Finn Balor as well. I mean, they're all former champions. Seth Rollins and Nakamura could probably put on a good match, and it could be have a good little feud too, I think. Sure. That'd be neat. I'd be all over that.
As long as he's against agile guys for the most part, I think they'll be good. Him against brawlers like him versus Strowman, I disagree now. I don't think those will be good.
I don't think that'd be good.
As long as he's against guys that are his style, yes. If it's against big guys, not so much. But yeah. Cool. All right, we'll chug on over to the next rumor. The Miz's promo material from the March 7th SmackDown episode about Cena and Nikki Bella's relationship being for the cameras was essentially designed to make them more marketable. And it's basically based on real backstage WWE gossip.
So so backstage WWE gossip. So they're saying that their relationship overall is just for the cameras. It's not a real solid relationship.
Well, I don't know. I question a lot of things. Like I've seen some portions of even like Total Bellas, and Cena is just a jerk on Total Bellas. Like he is super strict. He's got all these rules about what time meal is. You have to have shoes on. You have to do this. You have to do that. The guys have to go into the cigar room after the smoker's room after the meal, and the dog has to be, taken care of a certain way. And I don't know. I just question if he's really like this compared to the way we were introduced to John Cena just a few years back. Because now when he's interviewed, I just saw him yesterday being interviewed and this was a while back, but he's interviewed by Renee Young. And on Unfiltered, and again he was playing this straight edge guy, very serious, and he used to be kind of a goofy guy, but now he's this straight edge serious guy, and I truly wonder if his relationship with Nikki is being portrayed accurately to us, or if it is in fact just for the cameras.
I mean, yeah, it's great. It's interesting. You don't necessarily know what these people are like behind closed doors.
Right.
Or when the cameras are actually off.
Well, is it their personality upped by 10, as Austin likes to say, with
right.
wrestling?
Yeah.
Are they upping their personalities for the crowd?
I think to a certain extent they probably are.
I think they are.
I think so, because you're right. It's basically got to be an extension of themselves, right? So there's probably is a bit of truth, but it's probably not as forward.
Right.
As they're actually showing on TV, because they're both obviously right now they're the faces, and you definitely want to have a sympathetic view of them.
Sure.
So for them to kind of have this, romantic side,
sure,
and kind of really upping that and bringing that to the forefront, is a way for you to say, oh yeah, this is a real nice couple. They love each other and that sort of thing. That's probably not necessarily incorrect.
Yeah, by stretching it a little bit, it adds more interest.
Amplifying it, exactly.
Yeah, because
I agree.
Let's face it, if a camera followed your life or my life around, for the most part, it'd probably be kind of bland because it's a regular day life.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cena and Nikki, if you really just followed them around every day, it'd be pretty boring. So you got to add a little bit of drama, right? Add some drama into the mix. Daniel Bryan and Brie coming to the house. Sure, act like kind of jerkish to them. It adds interest. And as opposed to, welcome to our home. Feel free, make your do whatever you want.
May I make you a cocktail?
Yeah, it just it's a little more bland. So. Adding some layers to it makes it more interesting
right.
for the audience.
I can see that for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. We're getting to the end of the rumors. I'm kind of disappointed, but that's okay.
I like these.
Yeah. When Dean Ambrose versus Baron Corbin gets added to the WrestleMania card, because it will be, and it deserves to be for the Intercontinental title.
Looking forward to this one, actually.
That's actually one of the ones I'm looking forward to as well. Ever since they were kind of interacting there at the Elimination Chamber, it's like, oh yeah, this is going towards a Corbin Ambrose match. As we've talked about on the show here, the Baron Corbin has definitely been gaining ground and adding a lot to his stock over the past several months for sure.
Indeed.
Yep.
Yeah.
So anyways, they're saying when it gets added to WrestleMania, expect it to be some sort of a gimmick match.
Yeah, so I guess Dean has had numerous gimmick matches. I didn't even realize this, but he's had, in addition to the Elimination Chamber, he's had street fights, and he had the Cell match with Seth there a couple years back, where they were both hanging off the side, and he's had a few other matches that I can't recall I don't know if you can or whatnot, but they're all gimmicky type matches, and I think he had one with KO as well. So I guess we're to expect something with him and Baron, and maybe it'll be some sort of a backstage or whatnot type fight. Maybe something that'll remind us a little bit more of the Attitude Era, because there was always stuff going on backstage, it seemed, and. I don't know. I'm digging it. I could see that. Oh, and we forgot him versus Brock was a weapons match of some sort. And
I don't know. Was it supposed to be hardcore? Or was it just referred to as a street fight? I don't really remember.
No, I don't recall, because it was actually kind of underwhelming. It was. Well, there's another example of putting an undersized guy against a monster, right?
I think that was, from what it sounds like about that match. It sounded like Brock wasn't really into it.
No, I think we can both agree, if we put ourselves in Brock's shoes, he just basically went, all right, if that's who you got for me, I guess I'll wrestle him.
Right.
Because, they did not match at all.
No.
Stylistically and size-wise.
Agreed. Yep. So it seems like with the IC belt, just throughout its history, we'll say in the last 20-some-odd years, the Intercontinental Championship has actually been defended several times in a ladder match.
Okay.
So I wonder if they'll pull that one out again and do a ladder match.
I could see it. I think Dean's been in a couple of those, eh?
Yeah, he was in the one. No, I guess he wasn't in the one last year. I think he was in the one 2 years ago.
Money in the Bank?
No, that wasn't the Money in the Bank.
He won Money in the
Bank last year.
So there was a ladder there.
That was the Money in the Bank match. That must be where I was just thinking.
Yeah.
But the Money in the Bank match. The IC title match, the 7-man match, I think was last year, and then even 2 years ago too. It was a big multi-man ladder match because Daniel Bryan won that one.
Yeah.
So for them to kind of keep it going with tradition and saying a ladder match, I could see that
For sure.
and I'd be okay with that. I like ladder matches. They're not really overdone. You don't see them more than maybe 2-3 times a year.
Yeah. Agreed. Maybe Hall and Sean will do it one more time.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's gonna happen for sure. Yeah, Hall is in good shape. He's been doing his DDP yoga, and Shawn Michaels has been doing his movies.
Yeah,
spending a lot of time in the tanning bed.
Oh God. Okay,
he's orange.
He's orange. So is Goldberg. You see him on Raw? I think he fell asleep in one. Got locked in there.
Yeah, he spends a lot of time in the sun or the UV.
Yikes!
the UV room.
His red looked unhealthily red.
Yeah, not good.
All right, next one, guys. The lineup for the SmackDown Women's Title match at Wrestlemania has been essentially left open by I believe it was Daniel Bryan, in hopes that Naomi can be cleared and Eva Marie's schedule is open. I've heard other rumors that they may even want others like Victoria to maybe make a return soon, and she be added to the match. It's a completely open match. Any women wrestler could be added, especially ones that are, of course, on SmackDown. Sounds like a filler match to me. When you don't know who to put against someone, make it an open match.
It's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we have nothing for you.
Exactly.
All 6 of you. We're going to throw you all together and maybe even add some extras from the past. Victoria would be cool. You've already got Mickie James. I guess you could even bring out
Molly Holly,
maybe. Yeah. I don't think Trish Stratus or Lita would come back for it, but
I bet you Alundra Blaze would come back.
I wonder if she would.
She seems pretty into the company right now.
She retired from monster truck racing. She's done with
did?
that. Yeah,
she's done that.
Yeah,
oh,
she's
okay.
Finished. She's been doing that for years, but no, she's done with that now. So maybe she would come back potentially. I don't know.
She's a tough girl.
She's toughy.
Yeah. She also does a lot of jiu-jitsu and stuff, I believe.
Does she?
Yeah, she's hardcore, and when she likes something, she gets right into it.
Head first.
Monster trucks and martial arts.
Yeah,
and she looks like she's in pretty good shape too.
Yeah, she is. She does.
Tough, yeah. So.
Yep. Okay, last one here, and this is a big one. The rumors of a Daniel Bryan return to wrestling continue to grow stronger and stronger. There was a recent Bleacher Report article. It was noted that Bryan and The Miz were arguing again in a recent Talking Smack episode. I think that was just this week, actually.
Yeah, it was recent.
The Miz was mocking Bryan's inability to wrestle following his retirement, to which Bryan responded, "I can't, or they won't let me. We'll see in a year and a half. We'll see what happens." Meltzer with the Wrestling Observer reported that Bryan is weighing up a new ring style that will not be as high risk, and that could be crucial in his quest to wrestle again. Bryan has even pondered the possibility of leaving WWE to go wrestle for the Lucha Libre organization, CMLL. I think that's the second biggest one in Mexico.
Okay.
AAA, I think, is the biggest one, but CMLL is also very, very high profile. That's very interesting. I actually didn't really read much about that at all.
That's actually an extremely recent rumor that I added. And it's, every time I hear this, I almost feel for Daniel Bryan because it kind of shows how much he truly misses wrestling.
Yeah.
And I believe it was on one of the Total Bellas, but Brie was even saying that Daniel at one point was falling into a deep depression over it. He was really, really bummed that he couldn't wrestle anymore. It was too soon for him. I don't know what to say. Again, I'm going to stick with it. If he's got concussion issues, you got to send the right message to the kids out there. But I feel bad for him. If it means this much to him, who has the right to tell him he's not allowed to? I guess a doctor can, but that's probably why he's so desperate that he'd be willing to go to CMLL. So you said CMLL is the second largest. So is Lucha Underground AAA, or is that a different organization?
No, Lucha Underground Lucha Underground's kind of weird. Like it's like the Lucha Underground is the television show.
Okay.
And they're kind of in association with AAA.
Oh, I see.
So
they'll freely talk about each other among
Yeah, they do. And a lot of the wrestlers that are on Lucha Underground are AAA wrestlers.
Oh.
If not all of them.
Okay.
So that's AAA and Lucha Underground, I guess, would technically be number one, and then CMLL would be the second biggest.
Cool.
But they're still, like I said, super, super high profile. Daniel Bryan, a young guy. I mean, he's I just looked him up. He's going to be 36 this year.
Okay.
So still relatively young. I think of these guys that had to retire early, like say Edge.
Sure.
I think he was pretty young. I don't really know how old he was. I never looked Edge up. I think he's older than.
He was young,
Bryan.
but he had a lot. Yeah, he had done a lot already, right? So he could at least look back and say, "Wow, what a career!" Daniel Bryan. I beg to differ. He didn't have as much of a thick career as Edge did.
No, definitely not on a major WWE stage. Like, he had tremendous success in Japan and tremendous success in Ring of Honor. That's really where he made his biggest name for himself.
Right.
But yeah, in WWE, like Edge, for example, he wrestled in Canada. And he wrestled with The Natural, and he wrestled Chris Jericho, and all these guys in like the early to mid 90s, then made it big. And you could say like the majority of his career though was in WWE, and he really did accomplish everything that he that a wrestler would want to do. Multiple time tag team champion, multiple time Intercontinental champion, multiple time world heavyweight champion.
Major face, major heel roles.
On both sides, exactly.
Dramatic. What he did with Lita, that was actually awesome when he turned heel.
Oh, that was crazy. When he was a great heel.
Him versus Matt.
Yeah.
Him versus, when he was with Christian. And it's just, he has so much to him versus Cena, him versus El Patron. And that was his last match.
Yeah,
actually.
it was at
Alberto
at WrestleMania. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. He pretty much wrestled like in the era that he was there. He really wrestled and had incredible matches with the who's who.
Oh yeah, Taker, Kane,
Batista,
big names,
really big names. So yeah, he did it all. Whereas Brian
Orton, let's not forget all that stuff.
Oh yeah, with all
teamed with rated R.
Yeah, rated RKO.
RKO.
Oh yeah,
like,
it was good stuff.
Like he's like listen to all these layers, like this different factions, different levels of heel, different levels of face, teams alone. He did so many things.
Had the comedy side, but he also had the ruthless side.
Oh yeah.
So he was really edge.
He did the stuff with Gangrel.
Right.
Did he had kind of a rock gimmick when he came back. When he was a singles thing. When he was with Gangrel, he had the goth gimmick.
Right. And they were the Brood.
So many different things. Like, yeah, he's a lucky guy. But I just feel that Daniel Bryan, you have a couple of years there of when he was at the top of WWE. That was it. It was unfortunate.
He didn't really even have a couple of years, really.
Right.
And I don't think that's any fault of his own, but he really only was at the top of the mountain for, unfortunately, it was a very short time.
All right. Well, would you even call it top of the mountain when he was with Kane?
No, I wouldn't.
No. But the crowd loved it, but he wasn't the top of the mountain.
No, and that's when they should have started progressing him at that time, right?
Oh yeah, he was crazy hot there.
Yeah, and then
with the yeses and the no's.
Yeah, exactly. And then they finally brought him up, and he beat John Cena there cleanly,
right, for
the title. That should have been the summer that Brian. And going into the fall and leading into Royal Rumble and leading into WrestleMania, like that should have been Daniel Bryan as the face.
Right, and it's guys like Batista and Roman Reigns were getting in the way of him.
Yeah, well, even then, like really, what happened in that match was that remember Triple H was actually the special guest referee, and then after the match, he took out Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton ran down and cashed in his Money in the Bank.
Yeah. Like,
that was so dumb. Daniel Bryan winning at that point, he was white hot. White hot.
Well, I didn't mind Orton winning.
Well,
I'm a special individual.
Everyone else was not a fan of Randy Orton winning. But yeah, I mean, just like we always say and like you hear all the time, you gotta strike when the kettle's hot, right? Is that what it is? Strike when the iron is hot, rather, not the kettle. Hot. The iron is hot. And Daniel Bryan was as hot as he'd ever been, and arguably since then. And they pulled the trigger, but then they pulled it right back. And to me, it just made no sense. So anyways, all that said, you're right. He definitely didn't have the time at the top that I think he deserved. So for him to have to go out, not on his own terms, obviously was a bummer, and it probably bugs him.
Oh yeah, I think it bugs him a lot.
So for him to be able to come back and wrestle, and whether it sounds like WWE is not going to let him wrestle. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe there'll finally be this Brian Miz program at one last match kind of thing.
You think it'd be the last one?
I don't think I think if WWE lets him wrestle again, it would be for that one match.
Okay,
that would be it.
Finito.
And speaking of finito, that was our last rumor.
That was 15 rumors, guys.
15 rumors. We're going to have to try and figure out, going forward, symbols beforehand for each of these. Symbols, like I was saying.
It's going to be tricky.
Might be tricky.
But yeah, it's WrestleMania season when you got 15 rumors. They were constantly flowing in on the websites, and pretty interesting rumors to add. And I got to say, normally we have maybe 4 or 5, James, and there's lots to talk about at this time of the year. Lots
of different guys floating around, lots of different ideas floating around right now. And like you said, that's kind of it shows that WrestleMania is right around the corner.
All right, James, time for some topics of discussion.
Perfect.
First thing I want to talk about is your favorite as of late, faces using heel tactics to win matches. So I think you and I have a primary example here, Bayley and Sasha Banks over the last couple of weeks. What's your thoughts on everything that's been going on?
It just annoys me and aggravates me to no end, especially with Bayley. Because they've really portrayed her, and we've talked about this on previous podcasts. They've portrayed her as this lifelong wrestling fan, this bubblegum goody two shoes wrestler, who's hugging kids.
Yeah.
And she's got the incredible arm flailing tube men flying in the background when she comes down to the ring. She's got this poppy bubblegum music, completely straight cookie cutter face. Absolutely. So when she's been talking about it being her girlhood dream to win the women's championship. She remembers going to matches with her dad and watching it on TV with her dad and saying, "One day I'm going to be the women's champion." And she finally does it. But it's tainted.
Right.
Because yes, Dana Brooke came down in that one match, in the match against Charlotte. Dana Brooke came down, but that makes sense because Charlotte's a heel. So for Dana Brooke to come down and potentially either distract or actually get involved, it makes sense. But for Sasha to then come down and essentially help Bayley win the title in the way that she did, like she basically kicked Charlotte in the stomach, which allowed, or I guess in the breast actually, looking back.
Was that when she used the...
it was the cane. The crutch. You're right. I'm sorry. It wasn't a kick. You're right.
She used crutches.
That's right. She used the crutch, jabbed it in her chest, which caused her to break the hold, which then distracted her enough for Bayley to turn around and hit her with that Bayley to belly suplex, right?
Right.
And so for Bayley to then come around afterwards saying, "No, I'm the champ. The champ is here. I earned this title," as a face, as this goody two shoes bubblegum face, makes zero sense.
Yeah, zero. Not to mention her mic work sucks.
She doesn't have a very charismatic persona on the mic for sure.
I think she's overthinking of what to say, and she stumbles all over the place. So she tries to go real life mode and naturally just feels most comfortable trying to go back to when she was a little girl. And I could care less about her having a dream. Every wrestler in the WWE, their dream will be to have become a wrestler in the WWE. We get it. We don't need to hear Sasha talk about it. But I'm going off in another direction. All right, I fully agree. If you got a face like Bayley, it's the bubblegum baby face. There's no reason that we should be having Sasha Banks help her in all of her matches. And that wasn't the only match that was it Fastlane?
It was the rematch of Fastlane, exactly. Yeah. Sasha Banks again got involved, which allowed Bayley to retain the title. I don't like it. Like, so now twice Bayley is the face, this bubblegum face, and is gloating that that she's the champ and that she won the belt and she defended her belt, which is it seems like a very heel thing. Like for Charlotte to come down after having interference and for cheating to win and that sort of thing. For her to come down and gloat, saying, "I won." Like Kevin Owens, when Kevin Owens defended the belt there and beat Roman Reigns.
Right.
And he came down and gloated. That was awesome. And it made sense because he's the dirty, cheap heel.
Of course.
He got a cheap, tainted win. Ric Flair, the majority of his career has been cheap wins. In the 80s, when he was the world champion, the whole point was, someone's finally going to beat Ric Flair. But Ric Flair cheated or something happened, which caused Flair to retain his title.
Right.
And then he would brag about how good he is. Okay, there you go. But again, he's a heel. Well, the faces shouldn't be doing that.
To add to it, you got Stephanie McMahon coming out. And you got Charlotte coming out, and they're pointing out that Bayley cheated, and they're right. They're actually pointing out the truth, which makes even less sense.
Right.
They're right, and I even find as of late, when Charlotte's doing this, besides her grimace on her face, you'd swear she's the face. Like she's been doing things that are less and less heel-like. I'm not saying she's turning face, but I'm just saying on the last Raw, and we'll discuss it shortly, but she was sitting up on the top ramp, and she was with a couple of the commentators during one of the women's matches, and she almost said nothing heel-like. You know, you gotta act the part. So it's kind of like, are these roles being reversed? Doubtful. It's probably just WWE writers that are making terrible mistakes.
Yeah, I just don't like it. It really bugs me. And even like Sasha this past week on Raw as well, same kind of thing. Like, again, she's supposed to be a face. They're hinting towards a heel turn.
Yeah.
But as of right now, she's still supposed to be the face. And even as cool as it kind of was, even though I wasn't completely sold on the whole thing, with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt even. Randy Orton burned down Bray Wyatt's house.
Yeah.
Which may or may not have contained the remains of Bray Wyatt's
sister.
Exactly. Sister Abigail. Which I'm sure we're still going to see. Like, I don't think she is dead. But the whole thing is that her ashes or her remains are in part of that compound. And Randy Orton, the face, burned it to the ground.
Yeah, you know, I'm an Orton fan, but I could see that myself, that if you didn't know much about either guy, I would have thought Bray Wyatt, the guy that was mourning in the middle of that ring, was the face.
You're right, he was mourning.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Saying, please, no, begging. He wasn't threatening him.
Right.
He was begging him to stop. And I kind of felt this is a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't recall which podcast it was, but they were discussing this as well. And yeah, it certainly, unless you're a smart fan, you would have thought that Orton was the heel here.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not really the way it should be. I mean, I'm all for, you know, I guess if you want to maybe blur the lines a little bit.
Right.
But when you've got faces clearly doing things that heels,
like Sasha even said, she was defending herself, stating, I think this was the second time she interfered. Dana Brooke could have come down, but she didn't. So I came down. I don't know if that was the first or second. She was like, it sounds so heel.
Yeah.
You know, like she could have come down, so I came and helped, just in case she did. Dana Brooke didn't show up because, if you recall, Charlotte told her to go back. That was on Fastlane.
That's right.
Charlotte sent her back to the back. So, okay. You know, Charlotte almost did a face thing of sending her back so no cheating would occur.
That's right.
But the faces cheated.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. And I mean, we've talked about this previously too, but you know, a guy like Eddie Guerrero, it worked, but that was part of his gimmick.
That was part of his gimmick.
That was part of the gimmick. It doesn't work for everybody. Or I guess it shouldn't anyways.
Agreed. All right. Next thing I wanted to bring up. So I'm sure everyone at this stage has noticed that a lot of the matches that are on WrestleMania have felt somewhat thrown together, as if they're running out of ideas, or they haven't been organized to the point where they knew who was going to be wrestling who by this time of year. It still feels like we had just mentioned, has Dean Ambrose and Baron Corbin, has that even been officially announced yet? Like, things are just dragging along. But as for the actual wrestlers, it feels like a lot of the guys are being thrown together. Like, for example, I'm going to say Shane and AJ Styles. Originally, AJ Styles was included in the Wyatt and Orton match, which, in my opinion, was extremely odd and made no sense. And now all of a sudden he's facing Shane McMahon. And to add to all of these individuals that are being thrown together in matches, and a lot of them are three-way matches, because the third person out, like, let's face it, Sasha Banks. Sasha Banks has no one to wrestle because it's Bayley versus Charlotte. We got to get Sasha Banks in. Well, let's throw her in the match with Bayley and Charlotte. It seems like it's going that way. I don't know if Nia's going to be included in the future, but that's just another example. Nia has no match. So, in addition, you know, that's part A of this discussion. Part B, there's wrestlers that don't even have a match. Braun Strowman, no match. There's wrestlers that actually have nothing going on at WrestleMania. Does American Alpha have a match? Doesn't sound like it based on the rumor you and I just discussed. There's guys that are completely being missed. Nia Jax, no match. American Alpha, no match. Braun Strowman, no match. Just weird. Whereas there's other wrestlers that are just being thrown thrown in the mix with other individuals. There's guys, when you really think of it, we still have Attitude Era guys like Triple H in there. Well, we'll throw Seth Rollins against him. Oh, that's cool. It sounds nice, but Triple H isn't going to be able to wrestle forever. You guys are going to have to start leaning on some newer talent. Otherwise, we're starting to see issues here. What's your take on this?
Yeah, I agree. We're like, as of today, we are. Is it 3 weeks till WrestleMania, or
it's 2 or 3? Yeah.
2 or 3
Yeah.
Weeks from WrestleMania, and exactly, we don't even really have a full card yet. We've got guys like AJ Styles, who is probably facing Shane McMahon, but hasn't actually been announced in a match yet. We've got guys exactly like Braun Strowman, who at 3 weeks out is, just getting more popular by the minute, still hasn't even been announced in a match. And at this point, 3 weeks out, even if he's put in a match, what does it mean? Like, is there any meaning behind it? His Roman Reigns feud sounds like it's pretty much done.
Yeah.
So to try to get him into anything meaningful before WrestleMania doesn't seem to make any sense to me. He'll probably just be fighting in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, which really is, as we talked about, does everybody need to be at WrestleMania? Don't think so, but it certainly seems like that's what they try to do, get every little person on WrestleMania. And I guess, I don't know, then everybody gets a little bit an extra paycheck.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? And that's what the Andre the Giant Invitational Battle Royal has become. It's basically the miscellaneous dumping pile.
Miscellaneous is the right word, exactly.
Yeah, like the first time we watched it, was it Cesaro that won?
That's right.
That was exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second one was Baron.
The second one was the Big Show.
Big Show, yeah, that sucked. And the third one was Baron Corbin.
Yeah.
I like that. And the fourth one, it looks like Strowman's going to win that one, but you never know.
Yeah, it seems like if there is going to be this Battle Royal, which, I mean, it sounds like they've turned it into an annual thing, then yeah, Baron Corbin will be a part of that. Braun Strowman will be a part of that and will win the thing. And then that does give him a bit of a stepping stone, but really it seems like this miscellaneous pile that you're taking 20 guys. Think about that. You've got 20 guys on your roster that you have nothing to do with.
Right.
You've got no creative ideas for them, and you're so you just throw them in a match. I don't know. To me, that kind of says that you've got too many guys.
Right.
You've got so many people you don't even know what to do with.
Do they have too many guys? Because a lot of people say right now that the roster is thin.
The roster's thin, but there's a lot of people.
Got a lot of B's and C's.
You've got a lot of B's and C's.
You need more A's.
Exactly. Yeah. Not that many A's. Totally.
Right.
Totally. Okay. Next, here we've got, which we want to discuss, Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. Doesn't really seem like they've got a lot of time left between the two of them in the WWE. Who would we like to see each of the wrestlers face before riding off into the sunset? First, let's talk about Goldberg.
Well, I got a small list for Bill Goldberg. First one that popped in my mind when I brought Goldberg up here was Chris Jericho. This is more from a shoot perspective. For any of the fans out there that have been around, and Jericho actually hinted a few weeks back, those two have a lot of history amongst each other, starting from all the way back in WCW, where they where Jericho finally was given the time to shine and given the time to actually do a promo with a segment with Bill Goldberg. But Goldberg really didn't want anything to do with it. Jericho was using it as a stepping stone to move up. And it was fantastic, but it never really went anywhere in the end. And they've had some backstage issues as well. I think they may have actually gotten a little bit of a scrap. But in the WWE, same thing. Those two actually did have a match or two. But I still feel like there's some unfinished business. I'd like to see them go against each other. Two other guys I'd like to see Bill Goldberg go against. Braun Strowman was an easy pick simply because of his size. Bill Goldberg's pretty much a monster. So is Strowman. And Rusev, a little bit closer to Goldberg's size. It'd be an interesting one, except Rusev has been completely buried as of late. So I'm not sure what they do with that.
Yeah, Rusev, unfortunately, I'm a Rusev fan, but he's just been buried. He's been damaged.
Yeah.
So much. Like, we're going to talk about Fastlane in a little bit here.
That was burial.
He's just, like, at this point, you're almost at a point, and this has happened many, many times throughout the years. You get to a point where you almost don't even care about these. You don't even care to see these people anymore.
Yeah.
Because you know that they're just there to. You know that they're just there to lose. There's almost no thought that, you know what, they could win this match. It's almost basically guaranteed they're not going to win. So, yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of where Rusev has gotten. But yeah, so against the Goldberg, he might not be a big enough name these days anymore. I don't think, unless somehow he just miraculously is brought back up from the ashes.
There's someone you'd like to see Rusev face, though.
Absolutely, and we can talk about that in a moment.
All right.
Yeah.
You're going to keep the fans on edge.
That's right. That's right.
Is there anyone else you can think of versus Goldberg?
To face Goldberg, not really.
Gilbert?
A Goldberg-Gilbert match might be okay.
I'd watch that.
Yeah.
I'd pop.
That'd be cool. No. Yeah, you know what? I am not. For me, not a big Goldberg fan. We have a friend who is just the biggest Goldberg fan you'll
He bleeds
ever meet.
Goldberg.
He bleeds.
He would have a blood transfusion with Bill Goldberg if he could.
I've never seen his bicep, but he may have that Goldberg tattoo on his trap or whatever it's called. So okay. So we've covered Goldberg. How about Brock Lesnar?
Okay, well, Lesnar is an easy one. I want to see Brock Lesnar face Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. That would make some moolah.
That would make huge money between just the past history, and of course because they're just both great wrestlers. Kurt Angle is such a good character as well as a wrestler. It worked before when Angle was was he the heel, right? When they fought back at WrestleMania 19?
Is that the one where Lesnar did the shooting star?
It was WrestleMania 19. That's when, yeah.
I think Lesnar was the face.
Yeah, because he wasn't with Heyman. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it was WrestleMania 19. Because then the next WrestleMania was Goldberg Lesnar. So yeah, that makes sense. So in any case, yeah, Lesnar Angle, a rematch there would be amazing. Having a heel Lesnar with Paul Heyman, because yeah, he'll always, until he's done, he'll be with Paul Heyman. He'll be a heel for sure. Even though he gets some pops here and there, of course. And then Angle is going to be the face. I just can't see him.
No, agreed.
And actually, these days, the way that faces seem to be, he can still kind of be a little bit of a heel while being a face.
Oh, like classic Angle, you mean?
Yeah.
Sure.
And it would work even better, I think, these days.
Crowd likes it now, I think. Jericho was hot there before when he was, the tweener. And, I don't know, maybe the crowd's even already dying down now that he's more face, so.
After 1 week.
It's by the week now with these fans.
Yeah. And that comes from overexposure. Like, you see them so often, all the time. You see them for 3 hours a week, like on the same show.
Yeah.
They're always around. And then, of course, there's online stuff. And it's just like it's such a different time for wrestling than it was even 10, 15 years ago. Like, it's so different.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, Lesnar versus Angle would be amazing. Lesnar Strowman.
Yeah, another size thing. That would probably be a better one for Strowman compared to that of Goldberg and Strowman.
And I think simply because,
though they won't blow up.
It's been talked about, obviously, that Goldberg, recently, so basically he's had 2 matches since he's been back, and it's been, a total of under 3 minutes that he's actually had to wrestle. So Brock Lesnar rather can go.
Yeah.
And Braun Strowman can go.
Yeah.
So I think a Lesnar Strowman match would be awesome. I'd be all over that.
Rusev would be another interesting one for Lesnar. I don't know if those two have wrestled before.
I don't think so.
Maybe.
I think the size is a good fit. They're both big, thick guys.
They are.
Rusev is obviously, he's got that wrestling background. He is a good wrestler. He's a good character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be successful as well. But again, I think they really have to figure out a way to build Rusev back up, because he's been so damaged and buried that right now having a Rusev Lesnar feud doesn't make much sense. And the time's ticking on any of these, of course.
And now he cut his hair.
Yeah, he's got kind of this fade going on.
The Rusev's haircut?
Yeah.
Yeah, he cut all of his long hair off.
Yeah, he's kind of got a short fade going on.
Yep.
Yep. So, yeah, that'd be cool. So yeah, kind of getting back to what you were saying about what match I'd like to see. I really want to see, and again, it also involves there being some repairing done. But Kurt Angle versus Rusev, I think, would be an amazing match.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just their characters would mesh. You could easily bring back, him being him shooting on the Americans, and of course you've got Kurt Angle, who's the American hero. It writes itself.
Oh, yeah. They could have done that years ago with those two.
Totally.
Yeah, it would have been great.
Yep.
Okay, next one. So with Raw and Raw and SmackDown draft creeping up post Wrestlemania, who would you like to see switch sides among SmackDown and Raw, James?
Okay, well, on Raw, I guess moving to SmackDown, I would like to see. You kind of wrote most of these down here, Eric, but I agree with them all. Brock Lesnar, I think moving to SmackDown would be cool.
Yeah.
Moving the New Day over to SmackDown, maybe freshen things up a little bit, having a new environment.
I just don't want to see New Day on Raw anymore.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sick and tired of them.
I could definitely do without the New Day.
Yeah, as our fans know, I'm more of a Raw guy. I don't really watch too much SmackDown, so I'm just kind of shoveling them over to SmackDown. It's I don't know, they're more SmackDown style anyways. Raw's always been more of a serious, harder edge show. I'm not sure if that's still the way they're going. It used to be that way anyways. Hence the Austin being on Raw, The Rock being on SmackDown. But I always felt that way, and I don't know, their comedy antics can kind of go more to the SmackDown side.
Yeah, I don't necessarily agree with that Raw is necessarily rougher around the edges. It's aside from it being longer,
Yeah.
there's really not a whole lot of difference.
Well, right now, yeah, you're right, because they'll actually come to think of it with Jericho's humor and whatnot. There's a lot of comedy on Raw.
You've got that on there. You've got you've got KO yakking some of the stuff he says is pretty comedic. Right now with his full on heel, not as much, but still definitely is there. You still kind of get that flavor. But yeah, New Day, I'm perfectly fine with them shipping to SmackDown. Big Show.
Yeah, Big Show can go.
Big Show over there. I think a Big Show and it might not work based on our switches, but a Big Show Baron Corbin match could potentially work. A couple of big men.
Yeah, maybe. Big Show is a lot bigger than Corbin, but kind of makes Corbin look like a small guy.
Yeah. Well, Corbin's pretty tall though.
Yeah,
he's like 6'6", 6'7", I think.
Yeah.
He's pretty tall. And then I wrote Finn Balor on here.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
I never thought of that. Finn Balor would fit SmackDown.
I think he would fit. I think a Finn Balor AJ Styles feud would be really cool. I'd like to see that match happen.
Well, I personally would like to see Styles jump ship over to Raw.
So then it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, if it was up to me.
Yeah,
at the moment, it wouldn't.
They would switch and they wouldn't even bother. They wouldn't bother with each other.
Corbin, I'd like to see on Raw. Seems like a Raw kind of guy.
You're messing up my matches here.
I'm screwing with your matches. And Orton and Bray, I kind of want him back on Raw.
On Raw? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know. There's just something about it.
Well, since you're not really a huge SmackDown watcher, you don't really get your Orton fix.
I don't. I really don't.
No.
I gotta watch all those Orton segments and the good matches on the YouTube or whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember that or the pay-per-views. Like I watched all of the Elimination Chamber,
Yep.
which was a great pay-per-view,
That
by the
was,
way.
yeah, it
And
was
you and
good.
I talked about that one.
Mhm.
God, that makes Fastlane look like a piece of trash.
Fastlane, we'll get to that in a second, but
Yeah.
Fastlane was...
Yeah, we're going to quickly recap Fastlane for you guys. I mean, quick, because that pay-per-view was basically another Raw. But anyways, Elimination Chamber, that was a good pay-per-view. We've already discussed on this show. But I remember Luke Harper facing Orton on that pay-per-view. Even that match was very good. So, anyways, yeah. So SmackDown, I'd like to see Orton, Bray, Corbin, and Styles leave. Raw, I'd like to see Brock, New Day, Big Show, and I agree with you about Finn Balor. I'd like to see them switch. That's anyone I haven't mentioned that's a B or a C wrestler. I don't care about them to the extent that I don't even want to mention them.
So are you saying that you wouldn't, you're not a big fan if Mojo Rawley perhaps came to Raw?
I think he should be moved over to Heat. Oh, what's that? Heat doesn't exist anymore? How unfortunate. I guess he's fired then.
I guess we'll have to move him to Velocity. Oh, Velocity's not around anymore either?
Dang.
Crap.
Oh, how unfortunate.
Oh, what about Jacked?
Oh, my God. Going back here. Oh. Yeah, there's a couple other wrestlers, too. I just don't really care. Who was the one that fought Sheamus there last week that we were talking about? Big, tall guy. Florida Gators or whatnot.
Oh, yeah, Titus O'Neil.
Yeah, again, Titus. Sorry, man. Losing interest.
You know, I hate to see these guys, not have... but there are other places they could go. But anyways, I hate to see these guys not have jobs.
We'll put them on NXT.
I guess it's supposed to be for developmental, though.
No, I know. They'll lose to the development.
There you go. They could... the enhancement talent.
You're hit rock bottom when. Oh.
Wow. All right. One last quick note that I actually just came across yesterday was that as of Thursday's Impact Wrestling broadcast, we're going to talk about TNA, which certainly doesn't happen very much on this show. As of Thursday's Impact Wrestling, they mentioned that the TNA name is officially done, and they're now known as Impact Wrestling. And it appears that all mentions of TNA, including their world title, including the X Division, the tag team belts, the knockouts, all of that, it's all like the TNA is completely scrubbed. It's all just refers to Impact. They don't refer to the world title. They actually just refer to as the World Championship or the X Division Championship or the Tag Team Championship or the Knockouts Championship. They don't even refer to TNA at all anymore.
That's excellent news.
It's a long time coming. I am so surprised. I guess not necessarily surprised based on the way that TNA has kind of been managed over the last several years, but I'm so surprised that it took so long. But yeah, the Impact Wrestling, it's good, and actually, like their logo, it actually says Impact Wrestling, and then it actually has on their logo Anthem on it. Who's the company that owns them now? They own the Fight Network. They own TNA Wrestling or Impact Wrestling now. Did
they formally announce that TNA would no longer be used?
I don't think they ever had a formal announcement. However, on the broadcast, they said TNA is no more. This is Impact Wrestling.
Oh, okay. They said at least one thing.
They did mention it. Okay. Yes, they specifically said that TNA is done.
Another thing they could have said if they didn't even want to say that, they could have said we are now Impact Wrestling and nothing but Impact Wrestling.
Something. They could have, yeah.
Kind of like with WWF/WWE. WWF get the F out, or WWE get the F out.
Yeah,
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were basically saying we are no longer WWF and we will no longer ever be WWF.
Right.
So, yeah, just something to kind of ingrain it into their fans. Yeah, no, I'm down with it. It's a positive thing. TNA, sexual innuendos there. Time to get rid of it. That's what it was from the start.
It was a terrible name since 2002 when they started.
Yeah.
Awful.
I always thought it was weird, too, because there was a team called TNA and WWE between Test and Albert.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
With Trish.
Yeah.
It was just kind of weird. It's like, you guys are both hinting the same thing. I don't know. It was immature, essentially, is what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. Like, regardless of whether you use the initials TNA, and of course there's the innuendo there, or if you use like originally they called it total nonstop action. They actually referred to the full word, not just the acronym, the full word. That's lame.
Well, it is.
That's so total nonstop action. Get out of here.
There's lots of stopping action. It was false advertising at its best.
Actually, I remember, I think I rented a couple of those early pay-per-views because you used to be able to rent them, and they were like $10 for because they did a weekly pay-per-views on Wednesdays. They didn't have a cable show, and those were actually decent shows. They weren't all bad, and there's definitely been some great matches that have come out of those shows and out of their pay-per-views and stuff. But overall, good on them for getting rid of the acronym once and for all. All
right. Well, that basically covers our topics of discussion for the week, James. Anything else to add to that one?
No, I don't think so. I think we can move on to the wonder that was called WWE Fastlane.
Yeah, Fastlane. That occurred on March 5th, 2017.
That's right.
As we hinted earlier, it was essentially another, well, as Lance Storm called it on his podcast, Sunday Night Raw. I agree, I like 1,000,000%.
Oh, well, when we were sitting here watching it, right? When we were sitting here watching it, you watched the screen, and I said that if I didn't know any better, I feel like I'm sitting here watching a ho-hum episode of Raw.
Yeah, I agree. I remember you saying that. And you know what? I'm going to say it right now. Generally, Raw was better than that pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. Like that pay-per-view. We're gonna very quickly run through the matches. And there was only one match that really stood out, in my opinion. Neville versus Jack Gallagher. Again, guys, we're talking about Neville right now. He continues to impress James and myself, but that was the match of the night, in my opinion. That was a really good match. Did you manage to watch that match, James? You saw the Neville one, when you were here?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, you got that one.
That was a good match, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
I liked it a lot.
You'll notice I asked you, did you manage to watch it? Because we were practically almost falling asleep during Fastlane because it was just so brutal.
Oh, there were just, if we want to go through some of the matches here.
Let's do so.
The kickoff match was Rich Swann and Akira Tozawa versus the Brian Kendrick and my personal favorite, Noam Dar.
Oh, God.
I'm saying that pretty facetiously because it bores me.
Oh, he's boring. There's nothing about him.
Aside from him being Scottish, I don't care at all about Noam Dar. And to be honest, I don't even remember who won.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, man, don't even know. And then so then we had the main card. We got Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax. Kind of touched on that earlier. Wasn't nothing blew me away.
Yeah.
With it, I honestly don't think Sasha Banks is as good as a worker as she's kind of had been led to believe she was.
Agreed.
As before she kind of came up to the main roster and that. So we had Gallows and Anderson, which I wish they would just refer to them as the Club. I'd be all over that.
Yeah, these two names, it gets annoying having to say it every time.
Yeah, versus Enzo and Big Cass for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Man, I didn't care.
Nope.
Gallows and Anderson retained. Match of the night was Neville and Jack Gallagher for the Cruiserweight Championship. This is a great match. Gallagher definitely impresses me, and Neville, of course, has been off the charts.
Oh yeah.
And he was off the charts on Raw as well.
Yeah.
This past week.
He gives it his all.
Absolutely.
What about those two junky filler matches? Jinder Mahal versus Cesaro.
That's right.
And Big Show versus Rusev.
What was the point of these matches?
Oh, they were so confusing. And Mahal, hard body Mahal, and Rusev continued to battle before, in the middle, and after all of these matches. So, why did Big Show squash Rusev.
I know. I don't understand. I just don't.
And I saw it coming too. I knew it was going to happen because you could tell Mahal and Rusev were going to lose both of their matches.
Yep.
I just don't understand it. These two matches were probably the worst things of the whole night. I don't know. They were just brutal. They took up such a large chunk of the night. These at best are Raw matches.
Well, between the interaction backstage and then the Mahal Cesaro match, which was actually quite long, was way longer than I expected it to be. Way longer than it.
Were they these matches weren't even announced, I think.
No. We didn't. Nobody heard about them. They weren't on the card.
That's unacceptable.
No, I'm looking at the card right here, and it wasn't even on there.
Well, James, that's why this felt so much like a Raw, man.
Yeah.
Because there were so many things happening that were not announced.
Yeah. So those two matches weren't announced. So you had this whole segment that I'm gonna say between the backstage, between the two matches, must have taken up half an hour.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if they felt at the last minute that it was going to go that it was going to be too short or something. I have no idea. But in any case, there were two matches that didn't need to happen. I guess Cesaro and Sheamus weren't on the card anywhere. So maybe that was a way to get Cesaro on there. But yeah, so Cesaro and Mahal, that was at least a decent match. The match itself wasn't just a complete filler, but Big Show and Rusev completely baffles me.
That was If you which one was better? Cesaro Mahal was actually better.
Oh, it was better. If you need to call one of them better,
sure.
Certainly Mahal versus Cesaro was. What do we have here?
Charlotte and Bayley.
Yeah, Charlotte and Bayley here. Again, didn't like the match. Didn't think it was that great. I think Charlotte, from a wrestling perspective, is great. She's a great heel. Bayley is not a good wrestler.
No, and the heel tactic stuff.
Heel tactics. I just don't like it. It just leaves me with a really sour taste in my mouth. It was nonsensical.
No, it was. Oh.
So, yep, I just don't understand it at all. And then what else did we have here? I had something else written down. Sorry.
The only other thing I got is the Goldberg Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys managed to squeeze anything else in there.
Yeah, no, that's pretty much it. Oh, Sami Zayn and Samoa Joe, they wrestled.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But I don't really remember much of the match, so that obviously shows that how much of an impact that match.
I think Joe just basically demolished Zayn. Zayn has been losing in what feels under 5 minutes in the last 3 of his matches.
He is certainly the enhancement talent of the Stars.
Well, he used to be almost lined up with Kevin Owens in regards to skill.
Right.
And Owens has surpassed him dramatically, and now Owens is having squash matches with his old friend Sami Zayn. It's crazy. Zayn is just a gatekeeper at best.
At best.
Yep.
Reigns and Strowman, match was a letdown as Strowman lost, and I think we were kind of expecting at the pay-per-view for there to be an Undertaker appearance.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
Definitely didn't happen.
Good job, WWE.
Good job. I guess I can. No, I don't even see why
that was the best time to do it.
They could have done it any time after that. Just didn't really make any sense. So it could just be really random. And then Goldberg versus KO. You saw it coming a mile away.
Yeah, it was like the match was just over like 20 seconds long.
Yeah.
Was it? KO was walking around the ring, teasing his entrance into the ring. In order to start the match. It made no sense, because why would he blow up or get tired by watching Owens circle him outside the ring and tease his entrance? I don't know.
No, exactly. Like Goldberg's not going to chase you. He's going to stand there. I guess it did make a little bit of sense, like, because he was kind of taunting him. It was a very heel thing to do. Like they're going to start the match and then he rolls out of the ring again. He starts the match and he rolls out of the ring. He doesn't want to engage Goldberg. So it was definitely a heel thing to do. But yeah, it didn't add anything. I didn't feel it added anything except trying to elongate the segment.
Agreed. Yeah, that's all they were trying to do.
Best part was definitely hearing Jericho's music and seeing him come out, which distracted KO rather. Again, you saw it a mile away. We chatted previously, like there maybe were some other directions that they could go in, which I think may have been a little better. But anyways, this part was pretty predictable. He came out, distracted KO. It allowed Goldberg to hit the spear, gave him the jackhammer, beat him for the belt. That was it. What did you say, 20 seconds?
Oh, at best. As soon as he got in there and Kevin Owens was getting all in a huff. All right, ring the bell, ring the bell. You know, the bell rings and then you hear Jericho's music. There was really nothing to it. Like, I don't know. It kind of brings up the question on how long the match between Bill Goldberg and Brock Lesnar will actually be at WrestleMania. I think it's going to be a very short match.
And you know, the more and more we talk about it, I don't think it will be the main event, just because I don't think you can have at WrestleMania, you know, a 2-minute match or a 5-minute match. I mean, you have to give some kind of a payoff to these people that have been sitting there for 6 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
To the people that held out. You know,
Agreed.
When a third have probably gone home by now.
Yeah, if they end that night with Brock Lesnar and Bill Goldberg wrestling each other, a lot of fans are going to go home in a huff, because that's all they're going to remember is a match that lasted 4 minutes, and it's probably going to be Brock Lesnar that wins this time. So it'd be Lesnar squashing Goldberg.
Agreed. All right, so I guess that brings us to our next segment here, and that is the Monday Night Raw review / recap for this past Monday, which was March the 6th, 2017. So, yeah, we're just going to talk about it and go through the matches and the segments, and then we're going to end off with the Raw S&M.
It was automatically better than Fastlane.
Automatically better. Was the same length, 3 hours. No pre-show, I guess, but
No
amazing cruiserweight pre-show match.
But they kicked off with a wicked segment.
Oh, as they kicked off with a recap of the Goldberg-Owens match.
They did. Well, okay, sorry. My bad. They did they showed what happened at Fastlane.
Right, yeah.
And we've discussed that. But I was more talking about the Jericho KO segment.
That's right. Yeah, this is a great segment. Jericho, he's coming to the ring and he's getting the Y2J chants. The crowd was really into Chris Jericho this past Monday for sure. Jericho acknowledged that Chicago was the birthplace of Chris Jericho.
Yeah, it's where he debuted in Jericho in WWE.
Oh yes, the birthplace of Y2J.
Yeah,
that's what he had said. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So he yacked a little bit, and then he basically called out KO. Said, "Hey, I want to know why you betrayed me. We were best friends. Why did you betray me?" So KO came out and he started yakking, but he said, I don't need to answer to you, kind of thing. And Jericho just basically demanded, you tell me. And he just kept saying, quiet.
He did the quiet thing.
Quiet.
It's been a while.
Yep.
Yeah, as a face.
Yep.
Quiet.
Yep.
Quiet. So, yeah.
Yep. KO basically admitted to Jericho. He said, hey, you were never my best friend.
Yeah, this was good stuff.
This was good stuff. Jericho played off so well too. He kind of, he turned his head like his heart was breaking all over again, and the crowd was with him. The crowd was with him too.
Well, I knew Kevin was going to say you were never my best friend.
Yeah.
But it's how he kept going into it.
That's right.
He called him a tool.
Mm-hmm.
He says he used him to assist him in keeping his title. He had actually stated it all started with Triple H telling him that he needed to keep people around him to get that, keep the title on him. So he used him as a pawn of sorts.
Right.
And Jericho became essentially a burden when he accepted the match of Goldberg versus KO on his behalf.
Exactly. That was good. That was great stuff. So he basically admitted that Jericho was never his best friend, but he said he and Zayn, they were best friends, and he stabbed him in the back, and he would do it again and again and again.
Yeah, loved it.
Yep.
Very heel.
Exactly.
Great stuff.
He came out and said that he spared Jericho at the Festival of Friendship, but he shouldn't have. He should have taken it.
Yeah. He should have just finished him off right then and there.
Exactly. Yep. And then Y2J basically came out and
face
said,
mode.
Went total face.
Only he can do this.
Oh, immediately turning face. He says, "I've got friends. I've got buddies. I've got the friends of Jericho. Cheer me on, man."
And the crowd loved it. They just ate it up.
Ate it up with a spoon,
Yep.
chanting the Y2J. It was all good. So then he went ahead and he challenged Kevin Owens to a match at WrestleMania, and the crowd chanted yes, yes, yes. They wanted to see that.
I think Daniel Bryan started the crowd off with the chants.
You think Daniel Bryan was out there?
He was out there. He had to pay a ticket to get in.
He bought his own ticket because he's SmackDown. They don't even want him there. So he bought a red ticket.
Yeah.
And showed up and got. Just imagine him in the. Hey, what if we started a yes chant right now? Do you know who I am?
Mommy, this guy is scaring me.
Is he scaring you? Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
The little girl's doing it. Now we all do it.
We all do it. It's like the wave. You have to do it.
Oh, God.
You have to do it. So Jericho challenged KO, and KO said, "Hey, I'll do it on one condition. You got to put it on that U.S. title." And Jericho, without thought, said, "Okay, done."
I loved it.
Yeah.
It was so the crowd was laughing. I heard him laugh.
Yeah. And so Jericho challenged KO to come down to the ring right now, and KO actually surprised me and did come down to the ring.
Yes.
Ran down to the ring, and they started to brawl. I don't know if you noticed this, but I certainly noticed this. But Chris Jericho, underneath his vest and scarf, was wearing the United States Championship.
Of course, around the waist.
And when they started brawling and fighting, even when his jacket and his scarf and everything was torn off, he still wore the belt as they fought. He was wailing away on KO in the corner, and that belt was proudly around his waist.
Oh, James
Loved
was
it.
in his glory.
It's
And
a
we'll
beautiful
talk
thing.
about this later, but since it's at the end, I just want to say it. Goldberg was also wearing the belt around his waist.
Love it.
Looked like a tool, but James loves it when they wear it around the waist, so it's a James thing.
Oh, I don't know. I really enjoy when they wear the belt. Yep. So then KO and Jericho, they're fighting in the ring, and who shows up to assist KO a little bit?
Yeah, Samoa Joe.
Yep.
There was apparently some rumors that they may have been in cahoots. I think only our close group of friends were discussing this, but I don't remember reading any rumors about it. But Michael Cole made it sound like that they had been suspecting this for weeks now. Was there any indication of this? Because I don't think there was.
I think Michael Cole is listening to the RGW podcast.
There you go.
I think he's a subscriber.
He's like, oh, these are the two biggest heels, according to these guys.
That's right.
They're both bigger men, according to these guys. They both had interactions with Triple H, according to these guys.
These guys know their stuff. These regular guys know what's going on. Some Samoa Joe soon started assisting Kevin Owens, and then of course who comes down to help out Chris Jericho, but Sami Zayn,
The man. The man of WWE.
Yep.
The face that runs the place.
Sure.
Sami Zayn.
Sami Zayn, exactly, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah.
So they basically kind of helped fend each other off, which did end up turning into a Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn match.
Now, wait. This match has to be started by someone with a certain authoritative position. Who could do that, James?
Who could do that? Chris Jericho makes matches. Was it Chris Jericho?
Nope.
Oh.
Is it possibly a general manager role that's required to make these matches?
The logical general manager who is supposed to be making all of the matches.
Mr. Mick Foley himself
Mick
made this
Foley
match.
came down.
Good job, Mick. We didn't see this match coming. Once again, good old general managers. Speaking of GMs, I just watched a top 10 countdown of general managers, coincidentally. Every week you and I discuss how, the general manager role has been overplayed. And, I'm trying to think of who the number one was. Oh, it was Mick. Can you believe it?
Mick Foley was the number 1 general manager?
Yeah, he was number 1. Number 10 was what's his name? Who played the Goon?
The Goon?
Yeah.
Was he a general manager at one point?
Nikki Bella's stepdad. Brie Bella's stepdad.
Oh!
Laurinaitis.
John Laurinaitis.
Yeah, he was number 10.
Oh, he was never the Goon.
Yeah, he was.
The hockey player?
Yeah.
No, that wasn't him. That was a different guy.
It was him.
Absolutely not.
Want to bet?
Yes, I do want to bet.
Uh-oh. All right.
Yeah. I will bet you if I'm wrong,
Okay.
I get to say the date of next week's podcast on the podcast.
Okay. And if I'm right, I get a handshake. We suck.
A handshake and a good hearty pat on the back.
You know, when I have bets with my coworkers, it's generally for $5, but this was our pathetic bet, ladies and gents.
We could have said $1 Canadian, like Chris Jericho and Christian years ago.
Oh, God.
So, okay, anyways, Mick Foley came down, made the match. Apparently between the commercial break, he made the match.
Yeah, it was between the commercial break.
Anyways, I didn't really watch it. I didn't really watch the match. I kind of skimmed past it.
Yeah, I don't know. Zayn did a flipping dive onto KO over the top rope. Kevin Owens did a pop-up powerbomb out of nowhere. Literally, it was out of nowhere to Sami Zayn. It was like they were rushing the match. Zayn did a spinning aerial leg drop onto Zayn. Zayn onto Zayn. No, Zayn did a spinning aerial leg drop onto Kevin Owens. Then Owens did a very scary-looking pump handle slam, and he actually dropped Zayn's neck onto his knee.
Yeah.
I actually showed my wife this because I was so blown away of how stiff the move looked. It didn't look good at all.
Yeah, I was actually, as I was kind of skimming through the match, I actually backed this one up and watched it a second, might even been a third time, because I thought, wow, that looks brutal.
Yeah, like he's gonna pull an Owen Austin here. Like something bad is gonna happen.
Yeah, that didn't seem like a very safe move.
Match was ended with one more pop-up powerbomb to Zayn for the win. Zayn got crushed in this match. What a joke. Kevin Owens won very quickly.
Very, very quickly. I think it was, maybe like a 5 or 6 minute match tops.
Yeah, there was really no point in besides making Owens look like a strong heel.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Exactly, yeah. But, I mean, it just further detracts and puts Sami Zayn down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a shame. He's a good worker. Next match here for the Cruiserweight Championship was Rich Swann invoking, I guess, his rematch clause, because I guess Neville is the one that beat Swann for it, right?
Yeah, a little while ago.
Yeah, a little while ago. Invoking his rematch clause against the King of the Cruiserweights, Neville. And this here was an incredible match. It really was. And they gave it a lot of time to develop, which was cool.
It was good, and I've never been much of a Rich Swann fan because he's definitely a gimmicky guy.
Right.
But as a wrestler, pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things about him I don't like. I don't like his gimmick. I don't like that he keeps his eyes open every time he gets hurt. But as a wrestler, he, pretty good high flyer. That was a good match, man.
Yeah. There was lots of crazy stuff. Swann, he started by hitting this crazy jumping somersault over Neville. Swann. He ended up throwing Neville into the barricade upside down, which was kind of cool. They actually showed that a couple of times throughout the match. Austin Aries chants out of nowhere during the match.
That was weird. It was really out of nowhere.
Is he from Chicago?
Well, that would make sense then, because I couldn't figure out what's going on.
Austin Aries. Yeah. Click, click, clap, clap, clap. And then Aries, of course, anytime the cruiserweights are fighting, he's in the... one of the commentators there, so he definitely acknowledged that they're chanting for him.
Yeah.
Rich Swann had a swanton. Hey, swanton.
That's right.
Off the turnbuckle onto Neville on the floor, and then he did what was referred to by Michael Cole as a Michinoku driver, but it was not a Michinoku driver. I don't actually know the name of it, but it wasn't a Michinoku driver at all. It was something different.
I don't think anyone will ever do a proper Michinoku driver because they don't want to break anyone's neck going forward.
Yeah, well, it wouldn't be the proper per se Michinoku driver, but Zayn has done it. Sami Zayn, I think, does the Michinoku driver sometimes. But in any case, it was kind of a cool move anyways. Hooked the leg, tried for the pinfall, which didn't work. Neville with a huge superplex off a Swan, off the top turnbuckle as well. But he rolled out of the ring to avoid the pin, which I thought was kind of an interesting thing to see. I thought that was really actually well done.
Yeah.
Well played for sure. And then he tried got a really big super kick. And there was a big scream as he did it, which was kind of cool.
It was weird, too. He kept his leg straight, unlike Michaels that'll bend his knee when he does it. It was kind of like a karate, like almost something you'd see in a video game, a straight super kick.
Right.
But he belted out a scream.
Yeah.
I liked it, actually.
Yeah. Swan, then, of course, he went for the Phoenix Splash. I didn't know that's what it was called, but missed completely. Anytime I see these big, huge... missed splashes and stuff, I always think of Kurt Angle versus this non-existent wrestler back in probably 2002 maybe.
Is he missing a tooth, this non-existent wrestler?
I don't remember. None of them existed. But in any case, they had a cage match on Raw.
Chris Benoit.
Kurt Angle went for a moonsault off the top of the cage and missed. And I always think of JR. JR said, Angle went for everything and got nothing.
Oh, God.
But just the intensity, I always think of that. So, yeah, Rich Swann went for everything and got nothing.
It's like Lesnar on Angle.
Yeah, pretty much same kind of thing. Went for
everything, got nothing.
Got nothing.
Well,
but,
he got something.
He did hit it. Like, he was going to... It just wasn't... Well, it just wasn't done well.
Right.
So, so anyways, went for it. Went for the hit him with the... missed him with the splash. And then hooked up that Rings of Saturn type submission for the win.
Yeah, they even called it that. The Rings of Saturn.
Yeah, he referred to it as a Rings of Saturn-like maneuver. That's what Cody Graves referred to it as.
So they're referring to Perry Saturn.
They would be, yeah, because he's the one that would call it the Rings of Saturn.
Interesting.
I'm sure. I don't think Perry Saturn invented that move.
No, I'm just surprised they're even referencing him.
But yeah, referring to it as such for sure. I agree. And then
bet you he wasn't supposed to.
I don't know. It's possible.
They probably just came out of but whatever.
Yeah. Who knows? But yeah, no, it was really we know that Neville, of course, is going to put on a good match. But I certainly wasn't really a Swan fan going into this match.
No.
But yeah, I thought he did a great job. I think it was a great match.
Wrestling wise, yeah, it was pretty impressive. He just got to work on a few other things, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And that's he's a young guy.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think he's been doing this for all that long, really.
No.
So anyhow, and then afterwards, Neville was then interviewed by Austin Aries.
Yeah, wicked segment. Loved it.
Yeah, it was a great segment. Of course, the crowd's chanting Austin Aries. He says who's next kind of thing to Neville, and he kind of basically said there's no one left.
Aries has this smirk on his face, just a smirk, this side smile.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's like, what? No one? Can't think of anyone?
Yeah. One thing I see that you noted here, which I totally agree with, is the crowd was really into Neville's heel speech.
Yes.
They were hanging on it. He's a great heel, and he's getting better by the week.
It's so weird that 205 Live is pretty junky overall. But you have a couple guys, but Neville just shines so much that you can put him on a Raw or a pay-per-view, and he might as well be back with the big, physically big guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to say the big. He's just as big, but he's been around for a long time. But man, he should have been a heel from the start.
Yeah.
I really cringe when I think of his old gimmicks, like being when he teamed up with the Green Arrow and all that jazz. Or did he face him, or did he?
I actually don't even remember. Like Stephen Amell.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. No, I don't know if he did, to be honest.
I think he teamed with him.
Yeah, Could be.
I just cringe when I think of that.
Yeah,
junk.
no. Well, yeah, well, he wore the cape, and
Yeah.
they called him the man that gravity forgot, and
But look at him now.
oh yeah,
Talker. His moves are stiffer. Does a little bit less high flying.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. He'll last longer.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, it was a great segment, and then Aries hinted that he was up next to take on Neville after he was kind of
Yeah.
shadily going, really nobody.
You've got to be kidding me. Are you indicating yourself? Just the way he turned and looked at him. It was so good.
Right, it was good, and then yeah, Aries basically said that he was going to ask him another question, and he said, "Well, it's not so much a question as more of a statement." And he knocked him down with the microphone
With
there.
the mic, yeah.
Yeah, and then he bounced against the rope and hit a really sweet spinning forearm.
Liked it. I
I
liked
liked it a lot.
It's cool.
Yep. So hopefully, and well, what I'm figuring is that it's going to be Neville and Aries at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I'm digging that. I'll watch that one.
That one I will watch absolutely.
Aries has a cool look. He comes from TNA, right?
He was Impact Wrestling.
It's cool. He's got his sunglasses on.
Yeah.
He's this mysterious, cocky-looking, funny guy. Takes his glasses off. His eyes are so intense. Like, he's got two different looks.
Right.
I don't know. I just wanted to mention that. It's pretty neat that he's got his sunglasses on. He's got this chill, cocky demeanor. As soon as he takes his glasses off, he's got huge ass, big, intense eyes.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just neat. I'm interested to see what they do with these two guys.
Yeah, exactly. One thing I'll just note, just kind of getting back to the beginning of the match, it was one of my notes that I wrote down was that they, how the announcer, when it's a championship match, they have the two guys in the corner and they say the first person. So they said Rich Swann, hailing from Baltimore, Maryland, weighing in at 180 pounds. Rich Swann. And his opponent, the WWE Cruiserweight Champion, Neville. I guess the king of the Cruiserweights, Neville. Didn't say his weight. Didn't say where he's
did
from.
they mess up? Or
I don't know
is
if
he on purpose?
I don't know. I was wondering if
Probably a mistake.
it may have been a mistake, but in any case, I just thought it was kind of interesting.
It's
And
neat that they call him the king of the cruiserweights.
yeah,
It's-
I am a huge Neville fan, which is so funny because even 3-4 months ago, I could care less. I couldn't care less about Neville.
Oh no, as a face, I didn't like him.
No.
It was expendable,
Yep.
dispensable.
I agree. And the next segment was it the Enzo Cast segment or was it?
No,
the
there
Goldberg?
was a Goldberg.
Okay.
Goldberg segment following this. So I mentioned just for you, James, that Goldberg had the belt around his waist because I knew how much you liked that, but I thought it looked stupid, so I mentioned it. I also felt like the red Universal title looked strange around Goldberg. Not a big fan of the red belt. I like black.
Or like the red patent leather belt.
Not a big fan myself.
No, I don't mind it. I think it's okay.
It's unique. At least it looks different than the SmackDown one. I don't know. Lots of boos from the crowd. They're not feeling Mr. Goldberg anymore.
Not really, no. And lots of CM Punk chants.
Yeah. Where'd that come from?
I wonder. They were in Chicago, but I mean, it's enough already.
Goldberg acknowledged it too.
He
He's
did
like, he
he
says,
even carried
"Yeah,
out."
I hear that."
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Well, if you want to stay face, don't say anything, but you acknowledge. Yes, CM Punk
They
is God.
acknowledge that CM Punk. We love Goldberg again.
Actually, as funny as that is, I bet you him simply saying, "Yeah, I hear that," probably a whole whack of fans, if they were booing Goldberg, switched and were cheering him.
Yeah.
You gotta be careful with that Chicago crowd. They're the best, but they're also very, you gotta watch what you say. So Paul Heyman came out, introduced his client, Brock Lesnar, and Brock and Goldberg, surprisingly, I must say, they actually went face to face without hesitation. Again, they're going back to the either men. They're not afraid of each other.
Right.
Whereas, in the past, anyone facing either of these men were scared of these guys. So, yeah, there was no fear in each other's eyes. I saw Goldberg mouth 2-0 to Lesnar, so they just there acknowledged WrestleMania 20. We talked about this. They rarely do that now.
Yeah.
But Goldberg did it. And I thought that was pretty cool, actually. Lesnar reached out his hand to shake Goldberg's. And Goldberg looked at it with a smirk, clearly not going to shake his hand. And Paul Heyman called Goldberg Lesnar's bitch, distracting him. And Lesnar finally managed to lay out an F5 on Goldberg. Mm-hmm. Goldberg looked like a stiff board on top of Lesnar, I got to say. It's like he's not used to this kind of...
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, when was the last time that Bill Goldberg took an actual bump, like that? What I did actually like was that it kind of shows that, even though Lesnar has been kind of, taken to task by Goldberg in their last couple of encounters, at Survivor Series when they fought. It was like a 16-second match.
Right.
He disposed of him in the Royal Rumble pretty easily. What I liked is that with Lesnar just manhandling Goldberg like that, was Goldberg just lucky that he was able to, dismantle Lesnar so quickly the first couple of times?
Yeah, I think they're trying to hint that.
Yeah, I think so too. What I thought was a nice touch was that Goldberg, after he was hit, he was like kind of scrambling and reaching for his belt, like that. It kind of made the title feel like he held the title in such high regard that after he was hit with the F5, he had to get it.
Yeah,
he had to get his title back.
He was sweating like a pig too.
He was.
What was up with that? He blew up, I think, by simply getting a move done to him.
I'm really not sure what happened with
he was drenched,
yeah,
like as if he had an anxiety attack.
I wonder. It's very possible. I have no idea. I mean, like, again, he hasn't really taken a bump like that in a long time. Maybe taking a bump and swinging through the air really did something to him.
He could have been anxious about it.
Could be.
Because I'm serious. If you guys go back and watch it, the beads of sweat dripping off Goldberg, there was no sweat dripping off him when he was standing there. It's very weird. Maybe it was a medical thing. I'm not sure. And he kind of did a scream, but that was it. I don't know. It was just weird.
Yep. So, good segment, though. It was all right. I liked it.
It was all right. Yeah.
Yep. Next segment here was Enzo and Big Cass. Or you know what? Actually, I had written down. Oh, you know why? Because there was some interaction there between right just before the Goldberg thing. Enzo and Cass and Cesaro and Sheamus were in the back. They yacked a little bit back and forth.
Yeah, it was a short one.
Yeah, Cesaro was sitting there drinking his coffee.
Right.
And Enzo, what I thought was kind of funny, Enzo says, "What do we got here? Cup of haters? Cup of haters?" Right? And Cesaro's like, "Actually, it's a cup of coffee." So I thought that was kind of funny. The match itself, I didn't really even watch it. Again, I just kind of skimmed through it.
The match pretty much sucked.
Yep. Now, this is not the first time this has happened. It's happened over the years several times where a feud is either created or a match is created or a match or a feud is furthered by somebody spilling coffee on somebody else.
Oh, this happened to Taker, I think.
I think it happened with Jericho, or maybe it wasn't Jericho, but it was someone in Kane or someone in Taker.
Angle dropped milk on Taker once or something.
Yeah, for sure. But there was somebody actually spilled somebody else's coffee, and that ended up creating a match. So in this case, it was Enzo and Cass versus the Club, and Enzo for some reason was stumbling backwards and knocked into Cesaro, who, for whatever reason, was at ringside with his cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And spilled it, of course, all over him. And they run in the ring and end up beating down Enzo and Cass. And they get disqualified. Enzo, gets hit pretty good.
Yeah, Sheamus brogue kicked Enzo off of Cesaro's back. Oh, it was sweet.
You know what? I must have missed that.
Yeah, like literally imagine him piggybacking him, and Sheamus perfectly sniped his head to the side of Cesaro and brogue kicked him right off. That was pretty impressive.
That's cool. A couple of double team moves. I like that by these guys. I like that.
Yeah. I don't know. It was an okay segment. At the start there was Cass naming all of the winners of all the championships, the Chicago Bulls over the years, and just cheap stuff just to try and get the fans to cheer for them. And at the end, fully announced that the two teams would be facing off against each other next week, and the winners would face off against Gallows and Anderson at WrestleMania.
Okay.
I still think it'll be the three teams going against each other, because if they don't, we got another two people without anything to do. Throw them in, the Andre the Giant.
Maybe Cesaro can be a two-time Andre the Giant.
Maybe. But they'd have to share it, him and Sheamus.
Oh, that's right. They would have to share it. Oh, and there's a feud all over again.
Oh, yeah.
They have to have another best of 7.
Haven't seen that before.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, you're right. I'm sure it's going to be a triple threat. Next is Cesaro and Daivari. Ariel Daivari, I think is his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that's been around forever, but kind of not around forever.
Yeah, no, he hasn't really been around forever, this guy.
Daivari?
No, this is a different Daivari.
This is not the same Daivari?
No, it's not.
Oh, my God.
I think it's his brother.
I honestly thought this was the same Daivari.
No. This is a different guy.
Oh.
Completely. No, the last name's same, but aside from that, they are two different people.
All right.
Okay.
Actually, I thought that was his first name until you said his first name. So.
Oh, do you thought Daivari was his first name?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's like
his
Ariel Daivari. I can't think of if it's Ariel or not.
Well, I thought he looked a little taller and a little bit more muscular than the original Daivari.
The original one, yeah, right.
Okay.
So, didn't really watch a whole lot of this one. Not that there was much to watch. I think it was only about a 4-minute match. There was a nice suicide dive to Daivari through the ropes, and then Tozawa won the match by
a la snap suplex.
The German snap suplex.
Yeah.
Which I do like. I think that very first week we saw it, though, was probably the crispest that I've seen it.
Yeah.
Lately, it's kind of it's been not as snappy, we'll say.
Not as snappy.
Yeah. And then Tozawa then called out Brian Kendrick, and for whatever reason, Tozawa, he keeps doing these ahs.
We were right about his language barrier. He had trouble with that.
Yeah, he obviously speaks some English, but it's clear that it's not his first language for sure. Yeah. But that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he called up Brian Kendrick, started doing these screams or whatever, and then started dancing when Kendrick started walking out.
That was weird. He literally was dancing. And Kendrick finally came out stating he'd decide whether he'd fight Tozawa on 205 Live.
Yeah. So let's just, you got to make sure you watch 205 Live tomorrow now. You going to watch 205 Live?
No.
I guess the question would be, did you watch 205 Live?
No.
Okay. I completely skipped this next one. I did not see even who won the match.
Who doesn't want to watch New Day versus the Shining Stars?
Oh, man.
Winners.
They should have waited till WrestleMania to throw that one to throw that match together.
I made a couple short notes, but we will proceed quickly afterwards. So New Day, go figure. They once again came out with their stupid ice cream cart that they had at Fastlane.
He wasn't drunk this time, though, Big E, right? He wasn't.
No, he wasn't licking the ice cream freezer. And Corey Graves says, "Lucky I have a large 4-wheel drive vehicle, as I would drive right over that thing." It was pretty violent, I gotta say. Lucky I don't have a large 4-wheel drive vehicle. Otherwise, I would drive right over that thing.
Right,
So Saxton goes, "Wow, you are just a miserable man, aren't you?" That was probably the best part of the whole segment.
That segment was better than the match itself or anything, I'm sure. Those two talking.
Oh, I have one more bullet point.
Okay.
New Day won.
Oh. Okay.
That is all.
So the Shining Stars did not win?
No, they did not win.
Oh, okay.
Sorry to our fans that enjoy New Day or the Shining Stars.
Yeah. So if any of you have, if everyone wants to send any kind of hate mail for our love-hate relationship with the Shining Stars, you can.
Anyone go to Puerto Rico and wanted a pamphlet? Pamphlet info? Sorry. It's not getting covered here.
Nope, not going to happen. Next was the Rick Rude Hall of Fame induction. The video was amazing. We talked about this previously, that it's awesome that Rick Rude is now part of the going to be part of the Hall of Fame. Very much deserved. I'm very happy to see him there. But as you noted here, Eric, it was first reported by Bleacher Report.
Bleacher Report now.
So why wouldn't WWE announce these first?
They continue to announce ESPN, Bleacher Report, TMZ, et cetera, et cetera. It's like they're acknowledging that someone has beat them to the gun, and it makes them look so ridiculously weak. They should be posting this on their website, and maybe they should team up with some sort of a news company. But them having to do this, it just looks so bad. That's all. I just wanted to state that because I don't know. It should be them announcing their own news.
I totally agree.
Other people.
And you never used to hear that. You never used to hear these other places getting the scoops with who was going to actually be in the Hall of Fame. It was always, you heard it here first with WWE. But anyways, just really weird. I don't like it either.
Well, it reminds me of us acknowledging websites providing us with rumors. We're naturally not going to create our own rumors and discuss them. Although we could I guess. But it's the same thing with WWE. They're acknowledging a third-party company for breaking their own news.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
No, that's strange. So I'm guessing this will probably be the entire class of 17. I guess they may bring in maybe like a celebrity of some sort for their celebrity wing, because they always got to bring in a celebrity. But so far we've got the Rock and Roll Express, Teddy Long, Ravishing Rick Rude, Beth Phoenix, Diamond Dallas Page, and of course Kurt Angle.
Yeah, pretty strong.
I think it is pretty strong. I think the fact that you got Kurt Angle, DDP, and Rick Rude in there are those three alone are very strong.
Those were on our list.
Those were all on our list, absolutely.
Yeah. I don't think I had anyone else on my list that are on there, but, good for them.
Good for them, exactly. Okay, moving right along. There was a segment here with Bayley being interviewed by Mick Foley. Corey Graves basically points out that Bayley and Sasha were essentially the heels at Fastlane. And Charlotte was the face.
Sounds like us.
Was he listening to the podcast too? Him and Michael Cole?
I think he was.
They were both on there. They're both getting their scoops right here at the RGW Podcast.
Woo. Thumbs up.
Okay. Charlotte even told Dana Brooke to go to the backstage. We talked about that already.
Yep.
Bayley, she is not a good actress.
She was just stuttering the whole time. She lost focus as she was talking.
Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, she continued to go back to her childhood as filler for her brain running out of power as she talked about nothing in the middle of the ring.
I always remember every time I hear her talking about, as a child, blah, 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 I always think about Shawn Michaels and, when he won the title at WrestleMania 12, it was his childhood dream.
Boyhood dream.
The boyhood dream, I'm sorry.
Boyhood dream.
The boyhood dream to win the WWF title, and he did it. There at the end of WrestleMania, they're like, yeah, he realized the boyhood dream. But that was it. He already realized the boyhood dream.
They let it go.
Don't need to dwell on it anymore. It's he's realized it. It's done. Let's move on. But yeah, you're right. I think she keeps yakking about this. What else is there really to say, hey? Then Foley basically says it doesn't matter how you get there. It just matters about where you're going.
Yeah, that was bull. That was like heel junk.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you get there. It just matters where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe that he said that.
Yeah.
Like, he's defending Bayley and Sasha. I don't get it, James.
No.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I just don't understand it either. And then and the other face, Sasha Banks comes out, defends her own actions at Fastlane, stating that Dana Brooke could have easily come out and interfered at Fastlane, as we had said before.
Yeah.
So then Sasha basically thinks that it should be Bayley versus Sasha at WrestleMania. The crowd didn't care.
That seemed sleazy that she said that.
It does seem sleazy,
Very
absolutely.
Sleazy.
I mean, it's definitely the beginnings of a full blown face turn. And then Foley basically asked the crowd, "Do you want to see them wrestle?" And then Corey Graves, I really like his little one-liners, eh?
Yeah.
Since when does the crowd make the matches? I thought he's the general manager.
Great.
Yeah.
He should just be on this podcast with us.
Yeah, we should reach out to Corey Graves.
Corey Graves, first guy.
Yep. Charlotte came out with Dana Brooke and basically told all of the truth. Basically said, like we kind of already talked about it, but pretty much said everything that's been going on.
Everything that we've said.
Yeah, Bayley and Sasha, they've been cheating to win.
So it sounds like Charlotte, Dana Brooke, unfortunately Stephanie McMahon, and Corey Graves are the only ones that actually see what's going on.
They're the only ones that aren't blind to the truth. Because Steph came out and the crowd again was chanting CM Punk.
So that's a thing now, I'm guessing. If you're in Chicago, wait till Stephanie comes out and just destroy her.
Do it even louder, because that's twice in a row now that they've been in Chicago.
It'll be a tradition now.
Yeah, and when Stephanie comes out, they just rail on.
She was ready though.
She was ready. Yeah. What did she say?
Steph said the crowd was a bunch of that they were essentially all predictable, and that they were all like CM Punk, a bunch of losers. It was good, though.
It was good.
I know you don't like Stephanie, but it was like so heel.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of losers.
Yeah, just a bunch of losers.
Some of the words that you can just use, minimal words.
Yeah.
Losers is a big one.
Losers is a big one. What a loser.
Yeah.
So basically Steph then said that the Chicago fans will always chant for the wrong people, including Bayley.
Yeah.
And she announced that Sasha would actually wrestle Bayley right now for her opportunity to be in a triple threat match. Because Charlotte, she felt, I had my rematch, but it was tainted as well. I didn't lose fair and square.
I was confused at first. I actually had to ask my wife for assistance on this, because Sasha and Bayley were saying, oh, this and this will happen, and I'll wrestle this person. And then Steph's like, oh, I have something better. You'll wrestle. Sasha and Bayley will wrestle right now. And Sasha, only if you win, then you get your opportunity to wrestle the other two. But if you lose, then you're not. I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It was kind of weird, just the way they worded it. At first, it was a little confusing.
Okay.
It made sense in the end.
Yeah.
But these notes took at least a minute to write.
So anyways, we come to so the next match there was Bayley and Sasha Banks. Now this Bayley versus Sasha Banks was huge in NXT.
Yeah.
Massive. It was basically the match that pretty much we'll say put them on the map.
Yeah. The new diva, the new female era.
Exactly, yeah. But this match was
pretty
boring, pretty cookie cutter.
Oh, they were every move they would slowly put the move in. There was nothing smooth about this match whatsoever. Mm-hmm. This was not a Randy Orton match.
Charlotte was sitting at the announcer's desk during the match. She needs to say more heel things, hey? She needs to act a little bit more heelish.
She just had a frown on her face and barely said anything. Mm-hmm. You'd have Michael Cole, or Saxton, say a face comment about Bayley, and she wouldn't even really reply or fight it off. Like you'll always see that happen when a heel is at the announcer's desk, and it's like, come on, roll with it, say stuff. But she wasn't saying enough. So unfortunately, that was as much good things as I have to say about Charlotte. I don't know, at the announcer's desk, she kind of froze up. So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah.
So again, the match was fairly cookie cutter. It was boring. I agree with Corey Graves that Sasha is in fact a manipulator, and that she will soon turn her back on Bayley. It's pretty obvious from a smart fan perspective. Just little things she does, little things she says.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. It's totally going to happen.
So Sasha had Bayley in the bank statement. Charlotte reached for Sasha, but Sasha kicked her out, kicking her and Bayley back into the middle of the ring, and in the process allowing Sasha to reapply the bank statement, hence finishing the match and locking in the triple threat for WrestleMania. So only then Charlotte came in the ring and he actually gave some pretty sweet big boots to both women. Like, it was pretty cool. Oh, they looked good. They were bro kickish.
Yeah, the big boots are good. She did some really good boots. Move I don't like the bank statement.
Yeah.
I think it's a terrible move. And yeah, Bayley lost to Sasha. So what makes this triple threat match exciting at WrestleMania?
Nothing.
You hit the nail on the head.
No, I don't know.
No, I agree. I don't like all these people are just beating each other for it's a non-title matches and cheating during title matches. I mean, there's nothing about this match.
The only women that I'd want to see on Raw face each other right now that would be interesting is maybe Nia versus Charlotte. Mm-hmm. But they're both heels, so don't hold your breath.
No, so yeah, that could certainly come, but there'd have to be.
But they're different kind of wrestlers too, so who knows? Maybe it'll be not as good as I envision it. Nia's pure power. Mm-hmm. Charlotte has got a lot of power compared to a lot of the others, but she's also more technical. So who knows?
It's hard to say. I think it could certainly work, but yeah, you're right. It needs you got right now. There's the two heels, so it would have to take some time because one of them would have to have a successful face turn in order for that to work.
Yep.
Yeah. Next was the Hunter segment with Seth Rollins showing the rehab.
Yeah,
tell you the truth, I didn't watch any of this at all.
There was just a sappy rehabilitation segment with Seth Rollins in the back. One thing I wanted to note is I found it ironic that there was a photo of Triple H in the background in the rehab room. So they kind of probably should have taken that out. That was a big fail on their part. So after the little vignette, I guess that's what it'd be called, Triple H came out and he was on the top ramp, I believe, and he basically said Seth is a liar. He is not the man. Triple H said that everyone, when he was big, like when he was wrestling, everyone gave him his nicknames throughout his career. Whereas Seth Rollins has had to give himself his own nicknames because he is the furthest thing from being the man. I thought that was neat. I don't recall if it's true, but I do believe it is. Like although it seems like the man that always developed the nicknames were people like JR.
Agreed. Yeah, he called him the Game. He called him the Cerebral Assassin.
King of Kings, I'm sure, was him too.
Could be.
But the Game for sure. I could see JR doing it. It wasn't the fans that did it, but. Yeah, the way Seth does it, and a lot of the new wrestlers, is they call themselves these things, and it's like, well, it's not really the same anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So I found Triple H actually had a point when he was saying that he's like, everyone else gave me my nicknames. You're developing your own nickname. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, okay.
Back in the day, actually, when Shawn Michaels turned heel against Marty Jannetty, so we're talking like way back in like 1992, I guess. He had this new persona, but he hadn't called himself anything yet. He hadn't called himself anything. And Mr. Perfect at the time was one of the commentators, and he actually referred to Shawn Michaels in the commentating as the Heartbreak Kid.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So
that's cool, Mr. Perfect.
Mr. Perfect came up with the Heartbreak Kid nickname, which is to this day HBK.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. But so was there what else? What was accomplished by the end of this?
Nothing. He said Seth was stupid if he were to go against the doctor's orders and show up at WrestleMania, and that was it. It was just a vignette mashed into a Triple H segment. Seth wasn't physically there. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, we're what at that point I guess they were 3 weeks or 4 weeks from WrestleMania, and
we don't know if Seth's going to be there.
We still don't even really know if the match is going to happen.
Yeah, like we had discussed at the starting of this podcast, will it be Finn Balor or someone else going against Triple H? Mm-hmm. I'd like to see Triple H at Mania, although having him there just to be there is just adding to the 7 hours of WrestleMania, so maybe he doesn't need to be there now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I certainly don't mind seeing Triple H, but what I don't need to see is the theatrics. I don't need to see Triple H coming out as the Terminator.
I'm done with that stuff.
You like that stuff?
No, I'm done.
Oh, done.
No,
Yeah.
not down.
I thought you said
Done.
you were down.
No, I am. I'm done with that stuff.
Or last year he came out wearing. What did he wear last year?
Oh, he was like a barbarian king.
Right.
Yeah, and Steph was on the top, and that one was unnecessary. Yeah, the Terminator one. I'm a big Terminator fan. To everyone listening, I don't know if you know or not. So I liked the Triple H Terminator thing, and I know Arnold was there, and Arnold was in the video game. So there was a big Terminator thing a year or two ago. But last year with the Barbarian thing, I've never been a big fan of those. Even with Cena coming out as the gangster many years ago, and just unnecessary stuff. Very theatrical, if you will.
I don't think there needs to be as much theater.
No.
I mean, it's a spectacle, yes, but I don't really think all of the that sort of thing is necessary.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So after that, James, it was a Samoa Joe Chris Jericho match. I wanted to mention whatever happened to Jericho's countdown.
Yeah, the countdown is. I don't think they've been necessarily doing the countdown.
Well, it's more face, right? No?
The countdown thing?
Yeah, like he was heel before, so you wouldn't want a countdown, or would you?
No, I don't think they've really been doing the countdown much for the last for quite some time now.
Well, I'm upset about this. I want the countdown.
One thing I did not think was, or rather I should say was weird, was you got Samoa Joe coming down, you had his hippo music. But during Chris Jericho's entrance, they just basically showed the recap of earlier in the night, and then they announced Jericho KO for the U.S. title, and then they came back and they started wrestling.
Oh, it ruined Jericho's entrance.
They didn't even show his entrance at all.
You're right. They did. You're right. I actually remember Jericho's entrance to the ring being less than what it should have been.
Right.
So.
No, I agree exactly. So yeah, this was a pretty short match. Yeah, Joe won the match at the end, which is kind of an interesting way to win. He held the coquina clutch on Jericho.
And on the outside of the ring.
On the outside of the ring, exactly, and then left him there.
Yeah, he did the classic, I'm going to win by countout.
And then he rolled. You don't see that very often at all. That was very old school.
Very.
And then, yeah, rolled into the ring at the count of 8 and won by countout.
So it kind of saved both guys.
Yeah, it for sure. And then Joe ended up, he wanted to wail on Jericho some more, so he threw him back in the ring. But then Jericho ended up hitting him with the code breaker.
Yep.
So that was that. And then, yeah, basically that was pretty much brings us to the last segment of Raw. It was Braun Strowman, a non-sanctioned fight against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, not a match. He just wanted to fight him.
Just wanted to fight. Kind of reminds me of Finley. Fit Finley.
Yeah.
My name's Finley, and I love to fight. Yeah, so Strowman basically said Chicago doesn't like him, and the crowd cheered. Kind of interesting. So he demanded that Reigns comes out and faces him. Roman's music hits for a second, and then transitioned into The Undertaker.
Yeah, very weird.
So, always cool to see The Undertaker, but again, just kind of out of place because there's really been no hints of what was. I mean, there was a little bit of a hint at the Royal Rumble was going to happen, but anyways, Undertaker came out and they stared. He stared Strowman face to face. I thought this was actually really cool seeing them face to face like that.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Strowman just basically stared him in the eye.
Yeah, and just walked backwards.
Then walked backwards and left the ring almost out of respect.
Yeah, that's the only thing I can assume. It was a respect thing.
Yep. So yeah, then the Undertaker's music starts up again. And then what happens? Roman Reigns music comes out.
Just the music I love to hear. Not.
I just love that. So yeah, so Reigns walks into the ring and stated that Strowman was actually calling him down, not the Undertaker, and said to the Undertaker, with all due respect, this is my yard now.
It's my yard now, dead man.
Yeah. And yeah, so They just both looked at the WrestleMania sign.
It's you and Tyler love it, eh? When everyone always does that.
Oh, that
Time
just
for the WrestleMania sign.
gotta look at it or point to it or something.
Yeah, it caused a distraction though, and gave Taker the shot to give the choke slam to
Yep.
Reigns, which he did. And I guess we're gonna truly find out whose yard it is now at WrestleMania, right? According to Corey Graves,
Yeah.
that was his little pitch. Because what was it? Michael Cole had that saying. Was it a last Raw that you just loved?
We're on the fast lane. Is this the fast lane to the end of Roman Reigns or something like that?
Yeah. And Corey Graves says, we are going to truly find out whose yard it is at WrestleMania. I was like, oh, God, it's a Michael Cole wannabe here.
Yeah. But yeah, but as you see, so that's basically showing that it's going to be Reigns and Undertaker at WrestleMania.
But has this match even been confirmed yet?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it has either.
I don't think they certainly haven't said it's going to actually happen.
A redonkulous.
So I guess it's going to happen. I guess we'll see. But
that was Raw, guys.
That was Monday Night Raw.
So we're going to do a quick new thing on this podcast.
Yep.
I call it Raw S&M, Raw Segments and Matches.
Segments and matches. Yeah, I like it.
No innuendos.
None.
So and this will be quick. So my opinion, segment of the night, Jericho and Kevin Owens were at the starting of Raw, followed by a close second, Austin Aries and Neville. What's your thoughts, James?
Well, I really thought that the opening segment there was really well done. I think the Aries Neville situation was really, really good too. I would agree. I think those were probably the two best segments for sure.
Yep.
Absolutely. The women's segment didn't really do much for me.
That's the worst one.
Yeah, that was probably the worst one of
Bailey, Sasha, Steph, Charlotte, Dana, and Foley. Whole whack of people were involved.
That was just a mess.
Yep.
It really was. Match of the night, getting over to the M part. What did you think, Eric?
I'd say Neville and Rich Swann.
I agree. Neville and Rich Swann was a great match. Neville is just on fire.
Yes.
He is just so good.
Hopefully he keeps up there.
I hope so.
You know how things change so fast in wrestling.
Yeah. Well, I guess the biggest thing too is they need to make sure that they have kind of a constant amount of guys to actually face him. Like a constant solid amount of guys, because you can have a whole bunch of guys, but I mean, you're not interested at all in Neville versus Noam Dar.
Yeah, that actually might be his downfall in the future. If you fast forward, there's not a lot of guys on 205. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I hope they find something for him, man.
Yeah, I hope so too. But yeah, so I mean, Austin Aries right now, awesome. Yeah. Awesome foil to Neville.
Nice fresh face.
Nice fresh face. I did like the interactions with him and Gallagher, so that works. And maybe they'll kind of go up against each other in the future.
Yeah, they could always lean on that one again.
Yeah, totally. And I think maybe if they weren't necessarily leading up to WrestleMania and looking for that big cruiserweight match, maybe that program would have lasted a little bit longer. But they can always come back to it. That's okay. But I'm looking forward to if it is announced, a Neville versus Aries match for sure. Worst match of the night?
You did not watch this one, but I marked down New Day, Shining Stars by far. That was a piece of junk.
Was it a piece of junk? Okay.
It was garbage.
For me, since I didn't see it, I can't really call it that.
That's cool.
But I'm going to say the women's match. I was not feeling it whatsoever. Sasha versus Bailey.
Yeah, I would mark that as a close second for me.
No, I just I'm not into Sasha or Bailey. I just think unfortunately they've both just really fallen flat.
Agreed.
And especially since they are supposed to be these faces, especially Bailey being the bubblegum face, with her essentially acting like a heel. It just in some ways makes no sense to me at all.
None.
It just bugs me. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. So I guess that pretty much wraps it up for this week.
That was a lot. Good discussion.
Good discussion.
Jeez.
Really good discussion.
Getting close to WrestleMania, man.
You know what? As we move forward, since we've got a few more weeks and a few more podcasts to go before WrestleMania, I feel like there's really gonna be a lot to talk about. I'm really looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Cool. Cool. I think that covers everything.
Okay.
All right. Well, everyone, we will catch you next time.
Ciao for now, everybody.